Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream at Villa Park on this early December Wednesday night. We see Aston Villa welcome Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, where both teams are only separated by 1 point and one position in the league table. For the home side, Aston Villa are without a defeat in their last five in all competitions and have a 100% record so far in the Premier League at home, with 6 wins from their opening 6. Another win tonight for Unai Emery, and that would be his 50th in the Premier League, combining his wins with Aston Villa and his wins when he was at Arsenal. Despite City looking shaky in recent weeks, they still haven't lost a game in all competitions since early October in a 1-0 defeat at Arsenal. But 3 draws in a row in the league has meant City have dropped behind from top spot for the moment. This is the 180th meeting between the two teams. Villa haven't won this fixture for the last 15 games, with the last win coming at home all the way back in September 2013. However, they are able to take a draw from Manchester City last season at Villa Park in September of 2022, where a Haaland goal was cancelled out by Leon Bailey late on, but then that was followed up in the reverse fixture at the Etihad, where Manchester City were able to take the 3 points away from Aston Villa's Unai Emery. So, for this midweek Premier League fixture, which Spanish manager will gain the 3 points and push their team up the league table? It'll be an interesting one. Like I say, these two teams are so close together. Aston Villa on 29 points, Manchester City on 30 points. They are only separated by a draw. So, Aston Villa have lost 3 games this season. Manchester City have only lost the 2 games so far. That one away at Arsenal, and then the one that followed against the one before that, which was against Wolves away from home. And Aston Villa will certainly fancy this. Aston Villa are currently 7 wins in a row at home in all competitions. Their last defeat came in the League Cup in late September against Everton, and their last loss in the Premier League at home was on the 18th of February when they were beaten 4-2 by Arsenal. They are 13 wins in a row at home in the Premier League. No draws involved. They are 13 wins in a row in the Premier League at Villa Park. Unai Emery has seriously made this ground a fortress, and since February, with that loss, their only other home loss was that League Cup game. They just love playing at home in Villa Park in front of their home fans, and they've got a real test tonight. But if they could somehow pull through and take on Manchester City and take 3 points, go above them in the league, cement themselves in the top 4, it could be a real, landmark moment for Aston Villa to take on Manchester City, the champions, the treble winners from last season. They have won 3 Premier League titles in a row. It would be just a serious stamp of authority on the Premier League, and Aston Villa showing that they do belong in this position in the Premier League. They finished in 7th last season on 61 points, which got them a Conference League spot where they've qualified for the knockout stages next year in 2024. And with wins against City, that's when you start asking the questions of, is Champions League football on? We obviously saw Newcastle last season take one of the top 4 spots, and obviously there's so many teams after the 4 spots for Champions League, but Aston Villa are more than in the conversation for one of those top 4 spots, and they could go above City tonight, and they go 2 points above them if they win. But on the other hand, if Manchester City win, they'd go 4 points clear of Aston Villa, and City could move up to second, depending on the Liverpool result, who currently await Sheffield United. But a win for Manchester City would keep them 3 points behind Arsenal. Obviously, that really late dramatic goal from Declan Rice last night put Arsenal on 36 points, Manchester City currently on 30, but with this game in hand tonight, where they could drop it down to 3 points gap, or it could stay at 6 for Manchester City. But we know with Pep Guardiola, sometimes at the beginning of the seasons, they got off to slow starts, and that's got to be put in quotation marks, because realistically it's not a slow start. We just have City at such high standards that when they drop a few points in games, you just think that's the end of the world and they're falling off and Pep Guardiola needs to leave and everything gets thrown out of proportion. So will be able to turn it around? We know that they can, and they do a lot of the time. So many of their league titles for Manchester City are coming from behind, and not many people state that. A lot of people just have the idea that Manchester City just run away with all these league titles, and they've ran away with all these league titles under Pep Guardiola, and it's just not the case. Like going through last season, they were head to head with Arsenal for nearly the entire season. Season before that, they won it on the last day ahead of Liverpool. Season before that in 2021, that's where there was a little bit of a gap. But then the season before that, Liverpool won the league. Season before that, it was another couple of points gap. I think it was 1 point ahead of Liverpool winning it on the last day. So only two of Pep Guardiola's titles have been through Manchester City running away with it, for say. The other three that he's won, Pep Guardiola, have been head-to-heads with Liverpool and Arsenal. So, a lot of people have this image in their mind that City always run away with league titles, and that seriously isn't the case. More often than not, Manchester City have either been neck and neck with a team, or they've actually had to come from behind on the points tally to win the league. So, if Manchester City end up, 6-7 points behind come January, say, it won't faze them because they've been in that situation before. So, and the fact they've done it so many times, it means that they've obviously the characters they've built within the squad that know how to come from behind in the table when they're a couple of points behind. It's probably helped Manchester City in the long run, winning the league, dominating and winning the league coming from behind. So they know how to win it both ways, and that's what makes it harder for the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal to win the leagues, because if City are ahead in the league, they usually know how to stay ahead, and when they're behind in the league, they usually know how to come on top and take on the team above them. So we'll just wait and see. We are still only in December. This is the 15th game of the season, so we've still got 23 games to play after this, so plenty of football to be played. If you are new here, liking and subscribing would be absolutely fantastic. Another commentary coming tomorrow. Everton at home, taking on Newcastle United. Make sure you're here for that one, because that's going to be a cracker of a game. Sean Dyche taking on Eddie Howe, two English managers locking horns, as tonight we've got two Spanish managers coming together. As we will go through the teams now in a little bit more detail, but unfortunately, a bit annoyed here. On the lineup sheet that Manchester City posted before the game, they had John Stones wearing the home shirt, and they're actually wearing, I think it's their away jersey with like the maroon shorts and the white tish top. So unfortunately, they're not in their home shirts tonight. Manchester City, they're in their away strip of, like you say, the maroon shorts and the white top. I think with the collar as well, that's also kind of like a maroon colour. And obviously we've got Aston Villa in their claret and blue home kit as usual. As you can see, both teams on the screen. I'll also keep you up to date with the other games that are going on in the Premier League. We've had 3 7:30 kickoffs, and Liverpool lead away at Sheffield United 1-0. So that puts Liverpool 4 points above Manchester City at the moment, but obviously Manchester City have still got to play tonight, so they could cut that gap back to 1. Fulham are 2-0 up at home to Nottingham Forest. Bit of pressure going on Steve Cooper there. Palace at home losing again against Bournemouth, and Brighton are 1-1 with Brentford in Burma with the penalty to put Brentford 1-0 up, and then an equaliser from Pascal Gross for Brighton, as both teams at Villa Park emerge from the tunnel and enter the hallowed turf of Villa Park, as we've got some fireworks going off, some fire being sprayed around. It's a very dramatic entrance for, the biggest game at home for any team this season, welcoming Manchester City, the treble winners, obviously 3-time Premier League winners on the bounce now, trying to make it a fourth time in a row, first ever team to do that. Let's go through both sides, and we'll start with the home team. It was Emi Martinez in goal, the Yashin Trophy winner, back a month or two ago, and the World Cup winner with Argentina. A back four of Ezri Konsa, who's featured in every single game so far this season in the Premier League for Aston Villa. A back two of the two centre-halves of Diego Carlos, who's making his first ever start in the Premier League this season at home, and he'll play alongside new signing Pau Torres, who came in the summer for £33 million from Unai Emery's former club Villarreal. And at left back is Luca Digne, who's got the one win in his previous 13 against Manchester City, and that came at Barcelona in the Champions League group stage fixture in Pep's first season at Manchester City. And in the midfield, it looks like it could be possibly a diamond, with Boubacar Kamara sitting in the holding midfield role, with two midfielders ahead of him of Douglas Luiz and Yuri Tielemans. And then the one in front is John McGinn, who is making his 149th appearance tonight in the Premier League, so close to appearance 150 in this division, with two more forward players kind of up front. We definitely know Ollie Watkins will be up front. He is currently on 48 Premier League goals in his career. He is joint third at the minute with Dion Dublin in the Aston Villa all-time Premier League goal scorer, so he could make third spot his own tonight with a goal. And he'll play alongside and close by to Leon Bailey, who's making his 13th appearance in the Premier League. He's got the 4 goals, 3 of them coming at Villa Park against Everton, Crystal Palace and West Ham. And you can see the bench down below as well. And with Manchester City, they make 2 changes from their starting 11 against Spurs, and they are pretty forced, in all fairness, of Edison in goal. Looks like it's going to be a defensive 3 of Kyle Walker, the captain. Ruben Diaz and Josko Gvardiol stays in with 2 kind of midfielders just in front of that, and that's Manuel Akanji and a returning John Stones, who has not played any minutes in his last 3 but has been on the bench for their last 2 games against Liverpool and Spurs. A 4 across the midfield of Bernardo Silva on the right, Rico Lewis making his first start in his last 6 tonight in midfield alongside Julian Alvarez, with Phil Foden on the left looking for his 40th Premier League goal in his career, and leading the line as usual up front is number 9 Erling Haaland, who's only failed to score in 5 games so far this season. He's got 14 in 14 Premier League games, making his 50th appearance tonight in the Premier League, as he currently just about averages just over 1 goal a game. And the changes for Manchester City, obviously Rodri missing out in midfield due to picking up his 5th yellow card at the weekend, and that means Rico Lewis comes in. And also Jeremy Doku is out of the matchday squad tonight due to picking up an injury against Spurs. Tried it in the second half, played I think 5 minutes of the second half and realised that the injury was a little bit worse than he thought, so he had to come off for Jack Grealish, who picked up his own yellow card. That's why Jack Grealish is in the squad, returning to Aston Villa due to picking up his 5th yellow card of the campaign. And that does mean that John Stones returns as well. So Stones and Lewis in for Rodri and Doku, as it'll be Manchester City kicking us off, kicking right to left, Aston Villa left to right. As our referee tonight is John Brooks, 33 years of age. As we get underway with the referee's whistle, City play back to Edison on the edge of the 18-yard box, sends a high ball forward down the right channel looking for Erling Haaland, headed away by Pau Torres, nodded forward by Kyle Walker down the City right, can't be won by Bernardo Silva, drops in the end here to John McGinn, who is tackled from behind fairly by Rico Lewis. It'll be a throw in midway side, the Aston Villa half on the far side, and it's the Frenchman Luca Digne with the throw. He faked the first throw in there. Looks like he's going to throw it down the line. I think he eventually will in the end. And he does do so. Looking for Watkins. Drops in the end to Kyle Walker. Plays it forward. Gives something for Haaland to chase. But it's overhit. And it'll be seen through to Emi Martinez. On the edge of the 18-yard box for Aston Villa. Who just dribbles the ball back into his own box here. As he can pick it up if he wants to. As the last touch did come off Kyle Walker. And here is the Argentine goalkeeper. Still on the ball. It's not rushing to pass the ball here. Martinez wasn't being pressed by Erling Haaland. Eventually goes to the right here to centre half Diego Carlos, as mentioned before, making his first start this season in the Premier League at home. His 5 previous starts in the Premier League all coming away. As it's Kamara on halfway, out to the right to Tielemans. So right back Konsa, back into his own half here with Carlos, who's got all the time in the world to pick a pass, and he plays it forward to McGinn. First time ball in behind, looking for Ollie Watkins. Overhit and misdirected in the end, and ball went through to Edison. Not a bad idea, though, from the Scotsman, McGinn. As it right centre half here is Ruben Diaz. Walker tries to go inside. Comes off McGinn last. It'll be a throw-in for the away side on the far side. Just under 2 minutes in, we yet to have a chance in this game. It's Kyle Walker at right back. Midway side his own half here. Looking for some movement from the likes of Manuel Akanji and John Stones, and eventually throws the ball back all the way to Edison in the 18-yard area. Takes a touch and plays out to the left here to Gvardiol. Being chased down here by Bailey. Plays a ball forward to Julian Alvarez. Loses out to Kamara. Now Leon Bailey. Out to the left to McGinn, who keeps it away from Kyle Walker. And plays out to the left to Digne, who will receive the ball ahead of Bernardo Silva. Towards the byline. Works across in at the near post. Headed away by Kyle Walker. Brought down here by McGinn. On the edge of the 18-yard box, tackled by Bernardo Silva, pokes it forward, can't find Haaland, picked up by Torres. Furthest left there is Douglas Luiz on the ball, looking to cross the ball, instead keeps it simple, goes back to the edge of the centre circle to Diego Carlos, so halfway line to Ezri Konsa, forward to Tielemans, pass deflects off Alvarez, but Kamara can keep it away from Rico Lewis. It's now Pau Torres in the left-back position. Forward and inside to McGinn, away from Lewis. McGinn keeps it, doesn't release. Edge of the box, he goes down, but he keeps the ball moving with Digne in the 18-yard box. Slams it towards the near post, and it rattles the side netting. And the first shot towards goal taken by Luca Digne. Definitely would have panicked Edison there. Good turn there as well from McGinn on Rico Lewis. And as he played the ball out to Digne, he was running at Kyle Walker and decided to snap a shot towards goal. Pretty sure that was a shot. It can't have been a cross. Hit the side netting and City play out from the back in the left back area here with Gavardiol. Goes backwards here to the Brazilian Edison. And out to the right to Ruben Diaz, just on the outside of the 18-yard area. Forward to Lewis. Takes it on the turn, pulled down by Douglas Luiz, and that'll be a free kick for Manchester City, given away by a former Manchester City player in Douglas Luiz. Spent 2 years at Manchester City and didn't make a first-team appearance before leaving for Aston Villa for £15 million in July 2019. That's Manchester City with possession from the free kick. Midway inside their own half here with Ruben Diaz. To his right here to Kyle Walker. All Aston Villa players currently behind the ball, and they're not pressing Kyle Walker as of yet. But Watkins gets a bit closer as Kyle Walker darts away from him, gets it inside to John Stones on halfway. He's looking towards his own goal here. He plays a short ball towards Akanji, picked up by Kamara. And the last touch comes off the Swiss international, and it'll be a throw-in for Aston Villa inside the Manchester City half. Poor giveaway that from John Stones, playing a short ball to Akanji. Midway inside the Villa half is Ezri Konsa, who goes forward to Kamara, out to the right, into the path of Konsa. Good 1-2 between the English defender and the French midfielder. And it's still the home side with possession. Decent start for the home side, as it's with the left centre-half here, Pau Torres, 26 years of age, playing his 124th game under Unai Emery. Pau Torres scoring 11 goals under the Spanish manager. His most recent one coming away at Tottenham Hotspur in game week 13 in their 2-1 win against Ange Postecoglou's men. As he clears up the field here, looking for McGinn in between the lines, and he finds him beautifully, brings it down away from Stones and plays the ball over the top towards Leon Bailey, who I think's onside. He's away from Gavardiol, enters the box and shoots, and it's parried away by Edison, and it'll be seen through for a corner. Gavardiol was caught out a couple of times against Tottenham Hotspur, and he was badly there again. McGinn with a ball over the top. It would have been a tight one for offside. Gavardiol tried to play the offside trap, but the ball eventually found its way over to the right-hand side to Leon Bailey, who entered the box and took a shot on with his right foot towards the near post. Couldn't be handled there by Edison. He could only parry out for a corner. And it's a set-piece opportunity for the home side, as they've been the brighter side to start this match. As they've got a corner on this near side, it's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Luca Digne. Can Manchester City deal with the first corner of the game? Right arm race from Digne, swings it in towards the near post, headed away by Erling Haaland on his 50th Premier League appearance, but it comes out to John McGinn, ball through to Pau Torres. The centre-back's got a chance to shoot, and it's well saved by Edison. He was going towards the top left corner, got his arm up to save, and it goes for a Manchester City thrown in the right-back area. Two important saves from Edison early on, something he couldn't do against Tottenham, when he couldn't quite stop the Heung-min Son shot going through him. But Pau Torres, the centre-half, we're just talking about his last goal he scored. It was a header against Tottenham away. Nearly bent one into the top left corner there against Edison. Well saved by the Brazilian, getting his hand up to the ball. As he plays the ball forward here, Edison out to the left, brought down by Foden, but the touch is heavy. Picked up by Douglas Luiz on halfway. It's back in possession of Aston Villa. Konsa forward, round the corner first time. It was a attempted ball by Tielemans. It deflected off a Manchester City player. It's another throw-in for the home side. Good start here from Unai Emery's men as he is searching for his 50th Premier League win as a manager. Obviously spent time in the Premier League with Arsenal before Aston Villa, as Alvarez picks up a short ball from Douglas Luiz. Eventually falls to Rico Lewis. Plays it back to Kyle Walker, who retreats to halfway. And he goes into his own half and into the centre circle here, number 3, Ruben Diaz, who's making his 100th appearance tonight in the Premier League. Made his 150th appearance for Manchester City against RB Leipzig a week ago in the Champions League. That's Gavardiol across the Diaz on halfway again. All Aston Villa players behind the ball as the away side are enjoying their first spell of possession really in the game. Kyle Walker over the top ball looking for Erling Haaland, brought down on the edge of the 18-yard box by Pau Torres, who clears it up the field to the centre circle where it's brought down by Watkins, tackled by Ruben Diaz. Drops in the end to Foden. Ruben Diaz has gone out to a left wing position, but he'll retreat quickly back to centre half as it's Akanji on the ball. Again, Aston Villa not pressing the City back line when they've got possession, just keeping their structure well, not allowing any gaps through as Gvardiol's ball forward cut out by the head of Ezri Konsa. Eventually drops to John Stones. And back in the City half we go here with Ruben Diaz, left centre half here. Gvardiol moves the ball away as he was being pressed there by number 31, Leon Bailey. Diaz back to Edison in the 18-yard area. Gets the return here, the former Benfica players linking up together. And here is John Stones in a central midfield position. Goes back to the left-back area to Gvardiol. And across to Diaz on the edge of his 18-yard box here. Got Kyle Walker to his right. He's got Gvardiol to his left. And Akanji and John Stones making those two central midfield positions where the likes of Rodri and Kovacic would usually play. Diaz again to Gvardiol, forward to John Stones. 10-yard pass back to Diaz on the edge of the 18-yard box. Very risky stuff here from Manchester City, but they've got the confidence to play in those tight areas, so close to their own goal. John Stones on halfway, receives the ball from Kyle Walker. Furthest right, here's Bernardo Silva. Has it, plays the ball inside, looking for Haaland. It's a ball he can chase, and it'll be one that Diego Carlos gets to first, but his header away only drops as far as Rico Lewis in a right wing position. He goes back here to Akanji. Goes backwards once more to John Stones. Midway side the Aston Villa half here. The former Everton defender. It's now Ruben Diaz. To his left here to Gvardiol. Still Aston Villa have all their plays behind the ball. As the ball goes forward in between the lines here. Finds Akanji nicely there, Gvardiol. On once more to Rico Lewis. In behind down the right hand side. Will it find Bernardo Silva? It won't, because a sliding challenge from Luca Digne intercepts the pass. And it'll be a throw in for Manchester City on the far side. Already taken, and the ball's now with Ruben Diaz in the back for Manchester City. Forward and out to the right here to Akanji. Returns the ball back to Diaz. Sprayed out to the left to Foden. Brings it down and plays it forward down the channel for Alvarez. Returns it to Foden. First time cross deflects off Ezri Konsa. And it'll come all the way back here to Gvardiol. He plays it inside to Stones. And then back into the City half here with Diaz to keep possession. Gvardiol left back into Alvarez. Furthest left is Foden. Receives the ball and goes back to Alvarez, the Argentine World Cup winner. Won everything possible last season, it seemed. Julian Alvarez, who started every game this season in the Premier League for Manchester City. Foden drives on the inside and plays it through to Haaland. Can he score? In the box. Touch and shot. Great save from Martinez. Drops out to Bernardo Silva, who puts it back to the far post. Erling Haaland saved again. And Torres can poke it clear. As Gvardiol is getting close here on Leon Bailey, who runs towards the byline here, towards the corner flag. Keeping it away from Alvarez. His clearance isn't great. Eventually falls to Gvardiol. Now Foden, who's tackled by Konsa. Ball drops back to Gvardiol to the edge of the box where it deflects to McGinn. And Aston Villa could have counter here with a high ball in behind the City defence where Diaz backtracks and heads it forward to Akanji away from Watkins. And that's the first real big chance of the game for Manchester City. Haaland with 2 bites at the cherry and Martinez equal to both. First save down to his left and then the one to his right there. A left-footed shot and header from Haaland on his 50th Premier League appearance tonight. Already on the 50 Premier League goals. And Erling Haaland, the perfectionist he is, probably will feel like he should have scored there. Still 0-0 in the game between Manchester United and Chelsea at Old Trafford. Midway inside the City half, Ruben Diaz has the ball. City have just started to get into their groove here at Villa Park. Ruben Diaz, ball, it's a high one, into the path of Foden, who brings it down beautifully. Now running at Ezri Konsa here, Phil Foden. Drives the ball inside and plays it out to the right, looking for Stones, who got there ahead of McGinn, but the touch only went as far as Digne. Forward to Watkins on the centre circle. And he's been dragged down there by Ruben Diaz, and that'll be a free kick for Aston Villa. Good goalkeeping there from from Martinez on Haaland, as he was onside, as the ball was played through to him there by Foden. And Bernardo Silva very cleverly pulling it back to the far post for Haaland to have a header in the 6-yard box, saved at the near post by Martinez. As Leon Bailey's been played through here, it cut out by John Stones on the edge of the 18-yard box and headed away by Akanji. Out to the left here to Foden, midway side his own half, tries to turn away from Konsa. His kick forward, drops only as far as Kamara, gets there ahead of Akanji. And it's the home side back in possession on the halfway line with number 8, Yuri Tielemans, making only his 3rd start of the season in the Premier League. One start against Fulham in November, then started the last game against Bournemouth for the weekend as he plays a delicious ball in behind for Leon Bailey. Gets there ahead of Gvardiol, squares it towards Watkins, cleared by John Stones, and it can be helped forward by Alvarez. Foden loses out to Tielemans. It's now Kamara driving forward, 25 yards from goal. Tries to zip a ball through to Watkins, cut out by Akanji. And it's now with Gvardiol at left back. Down the line to Foden. Inside to Akanji on the edge of the box. And out to the right to Walker, who's got a bit of space here on the far side. As he drives forward with the ball towards the centre circle here. And gets out to the left here to Phil Foden. Not many runs in front of him. Haaland's making another one. Is he onside again? He won't get to that one though this time. Slightly overhit there from Phil Foden. Martinez is there to collect the ball. I think he may have just been onside there. Haaland, and Aston Villa have to be careful because they do like to play a high line under Unai Emery. Interesting stat I read online early this week researching for this game. Aston Villa have won 4 of their last 56 games against the reigning champions. They've drawn 15, one of them last season against City at Villa Park, 1-1, and then losing the other 37. And their wins against reigning champions have come against Blackburn in 96, Arsenal in 98, United in 09, and Liverpool in October 2020 in that 7-2 win. So they don't usually have great records against the champions of the league. But that could change tonight because they are probably in the best form possible. 13 wins in a row at home in the Premier League for Aston Villa, going back to last season as well. Just under 15 minutes in. Aston Villa have had half chances. City have had full chances. Haaland coming close twice. Both saved really well by World Cup winner Emi Martinez. It's just under 15 minutes in. It is Manchester City on the ball inside their own half here with Gvardiol. Goes back to number 3, Ruben Diaz, who has scored at this ground before in a 2-1 win back in December 2021. Remember the home game between these two in that season. The 21-22 season. Matty Cash scoring in that one. And Coutinho putting Aston Villa 2-0 up. And then Manchester City come back to make it 3-2. And then winning the Premier League that year. As a Ruben Diaz ball over the top towards Alvarez. He's caught offside. How high, by the way, the Aston Villa line is then. They were on the halfway line. Literally, that's how high of the line they're playing. It's ridiculous. Aston Villa have got to be careful. Because we know Erling Haaland loves to make runs in behind. Because we see him quite often be frustrated, Erling Haaland, when he doesn't have any passes in behind for him to latch onto. As Carlos, he'll go in behind himself. Out to the left to Watkins. He will bring the ball down in the box here. 1-on-1 with Diaz. Pulls it back towards McGinn. Can't quite control it. Cleared by Diaz in the end. Out to the left to Foden, who's got Konsa close to him. As he runs back towards his own goal here, Foden is a pass towards Gvardiol. Deflects off Bailey. And it will be a goal kick for the away side. Bit of a difficult ball there for John McGinn to bring down. Had a bit of height on it and it was zipped into him quite quickly. That's Rico Lewis in the midfield. Out to the right to Bernardo Silva. Keeping it away from Digne. Back to the right back here, Kyle Walker. On once more into the 18-yard box for Manchester City with Diaz. It's now Ederson. Left back Gvardiol has the ball. Goes forward. Finds Alvarez in a pocket of space in his own half. Now to his right to John Stones. He will drive forward. He'll pass the halfway line and he's been caught there. Try to get away from John McGinn. From one John to the other. The English centre-half stays down at the minute. Just entered the Aston Villa half and, yeah, just brought down, caught late on the right boot there by McGinn. Yeah, it's a nasty one. I'm surprised that's not a yellow, that, for McGinn. That's a late one. Then John Stones, thankfully, is back up because we know he's struggled with 2 injury setbacks this season. He's only making his 5th appearance in the Premier League tonight. 4th start. Missed all the way from game 1 to 7 with injury. And then has returned recently to the bench in the last 2. But didn't enter the field for Manchester City. As they have a throw-in on halfway on the far side with Kyle Walker. And he gets the return from Akanji. It's now back into the former Dortmund defender. It's now with Walker facing his own goal here. Being closed down by McGinn. But he gets it to Ederson in the 18-yard box. Who plays a low ball into the path of Alvarez. Who lays it off here into Stones. Back to Alvarez. He just drifted out to the City left here. Alvarez 1-2 with Foden. Try to get it beyond Kamara on halfway. Last touch off the Argentine. Throwing for Aston Villa on the halfway line. as we have had a Bruno Fernandes missed penalty in the 9th minute for Manchester United. It's still 0-0 against Chelsea currently, but Bruno Fernandes has missed a penalty. So on the edge of the 18-yard box here is Diego Carlos for Aston Villa. Forward towards McGinn. His touch is loose and it drops to Akanji. Finds Walker, who's tackled from behind by Ollie Watkins on halfway. Definitely a striker's challenge. From behind, I mean, I wouldn't have questioned the referee if he'd give him a yellow. I think he's let Aston Villa off again with another challenge. So it's just a free kick. But Watkins just needs to be careful going in from behind. He's never going to win the ball, especially with Kyle Walker. With the experience he's got, he'll always position himself in a way to get in front of the ball first. So Walker plays it through to Haaland, lays it off to Akanji. Tries to feed Alvarez in behind, but he gets it back after it deflects off Tielemans. It's now Bernardo Silva in a right wing position in the final third. 1-on-1 with Digne. Faking, going one way, then the other. Plays it back to Walker, who'll put a first-time cross in. It's a deep one. Foden, who tries to volley, completely mishits it. Kicks there in the end, Phil Foden. And he'll go through for a throw-in for the home side near the corner flag. It was well crossed in by Walker, who just joined late in the attack. Put a cross in first time. Foden was onside, unmarked as well, left alone by Leon Bailey. And the Jamaican is very happy to see Foden completely mishit it and not hitting the ball at all. And that could have been a chance for Phil Foden, who scored at the weekend against Tottenham, making it 2-1 to Manchester City. That was his 4th of the season in the Premier League. As Manchester City have a throw in here with Gavardio. He throws it back here towards Ruben Diaz, who just peeled out to the left side here for Manchester City. Just played out to the right. In the centre circle here, Kyle Walker. Got Watkins in front of him. Haaland. He's just dropped deeper for the ball there. Linking up with Alvarez, who now finds Diaz on halfway line with Gavardio. To his right to Akanji. Returns the ball back to the Croatian Gavardio. As Manchester United have taken a lead at Old Trafford, and it's Scott McTominay with the goal. So United lead against Chelsea. 50-50% possession so far. No, Amazon Prime are toying with me. It did say 50-50 on the possession, but it's actually 63% for Manchester City. The better side to start the game was Aston Villa. I'd say the first 8 minutes were probably Aston Villa on the ball and getting some half chances. We had 2 saves from Ederson on Leon Bailey and Pau Torres. But Manchester City, just the last 10 or so minutes, just starting to dominate the ball a bit more as Walker switch out to Foden, brought down beautifully on the edge of the 18-yard box on the left-hand side. Looking towards his right here, Phil Foden, lays it into John Stones. Keeps the ball away from Tielemans and finds Bernardo Silva. Returns it to John Stones towards the byline. Can't quite turn away from McGinn. And that'd be a goal kick there for Emi Martinez. Bit of a wry smile there from John Stones. Knows that probably should have done better there, but just got the ball stuck under his foot. Try to do a Cruyff turn away from McGinn. Yeah, not quite got that in his locker there. John Stones, the little Cruyff turn in the 18-yard area. Emi Martinez on the ball. Plays out to the left to Digne. Dribbles away from Bernardo Silva. Ball forward to Luiz. Then back to Pau Torres. Midway side his own half. Again, all Manchester City players currently behind the ball as they play it to the right here to Kamara. It's now Konsa. Ball forward into the path of Leon Bailey. His touch is nice. He finds the ball midway side the City half. He's got a chance to shoot. He will shoot from afar. And again, Ederson has to tip it over. Venomous strike there by Leon Bailey. Definitely got the power on the strike. Good ball from Ezri Konsa to find him midway side the Manchester City half. And the away defenders just backed off. Akanji allowed him to get the shot away. It was down the centre of the goal, so it was easy enough in the end for Ederson to tip over, but definitely got the connection right there, Leon Bailey. As Aston Villa have another corner here. I think it's their second of the game. On this near side. Will it be a left-footed in-swinger from Luca Digne? That's what the last one was. And it'll be the same again. Aston Villa's number 12. The delivery needs to be right. In it goes. Headed away in the end by Akanji. Drops to the edge of the box here to McGinn, who fancies a shot, which is blocked by Haaland. Drops to Luiz, he strikes as well. Deflection off Kyle Walker. And it will be another corner on the far side for Aston Villa. And it looks like it will be Douglas Luiz to go over and take it. A goal he scored last season in the early rounds of the League Cup against Bolton away. Douglas Luiz scored directly from a corner. So he has got dangerous set pieces, the Brazilian, looking to haunt his former side. So it'll be a right-footed swing from Luiz. Goes short to McGinn. On the edge of the box, right foot shoots straight down the throat of Ederson. Got into a weak foot there and fancied the shot McGinn, but never going to trouble Ederson, who rolls it out to the right here to Kyle Walker, who gets it into John Stones. Now Rico Lewis on halfway, tries to turn. He's tackled there by McGinn. Chance to attack here for Aston Villa. McGinn in the final third. Slowed down here as Rico Lewis recovers to try and win the ball back, but Aston Villa keep it moving as McGinn's brought down there by Alvarez. A little pull on the shirt there by the Argentine on McGinn. And it'll be a free kick for the home side. Everyone's talking about Manchester City's bad form and how they're stumbling a little bit with obviously 3 Premier League draws in a row. But if City don't lose tonight, they'll go 10 unbeaten in all competitions. So even though everyone's saying they're in bad form, you know, it could be 10 unbeaten in a row in all competitions, and a lot of teams struggle to do that every season. So don't think City are as worse off as what people believe. Obviously, it has been quite worrying, the recent results in terms of goals conceded. You know, conceded 4 away at Chelsea and then 3 at the weekend against Tottenham. It's from this free kick, about 35 yards out. It's quite the way away, but Douglas Luiz looks like he's going to shoot with this one. No, he dinks it instead into the 18-yard box, headed away by Akanji, helped on by Rico Lewis, but head nodded out to the right here for Aston Villa to Leon Bailey, who's one-on-one here with Phil Foden. Trying to move away from the Manchester City number 47. Goes back here to Kamara. Centre circles Luiz. All City players currently behind the ball still as they try and defend this Aston Villa attack. Let's right back Konsa. He's been forced all the way back by the press of Bernardo Silva to Emi Martinez inside his own half. Over 25 minutes played. Still 0-0 here at Villa Park. Just inside the City half. Pau Torres on the left-hand side. Lays it off here to Douglas Luiz. Diego Carlos swings the ball out to the left. It will be won by Watkins. He keeps it away from Walker. Nice bit of skill from Aston Villa's number 11. In the box he shoots. It's a block from John Stones. It was well kept alive there by Watkins. It was not the greatest of balls by Diego Carlos. It was definitely a searcher, just looking for someone to get onto it. And Watkins kept it alive and had a shot in the corner of the box, which was blocked by Stones. It's now on the right with Bailey. Goes into Tielemans. Back to the City goal. So just prods it back here to Ezri Konsa at right back. Halfway line now, Diego Carlos. Slowly being closed down by Haaland. So forced back to the edge of his 18-yard box here with Emi Martinez. Back out to the right-hand side here to Diego Carlos. Kamara. Lewis on his back, so goes into the path of Emi Martinez. To his left to Pau Torres in the 18-yard area. Forward to Kamara. Finds the Frenchman who lifts it out to the left side here to Douglas Luiz. Goes out to the right here for Diego Carlos. On halfway. Bailey. In a right wing position. 1-on-1 with Gavardo on the outside. Thinks it. Far post. It's a header away by Kyle Walker. Who's aimed towards Watkins. Haaland picks the ball up here. He's in his own box here, Haaland, who can turn and clear. But there's no City players up there to chase it. And it's back in the possession of Diego Carlos in the centre circle. Got Konsa to his right and he'll play it to the Aston Villa right back. Forward to Kamara. Dink ball over Lewis into Tielemans. Down the Aston Villa right. He's got Bailey in front of him. Instead takes on Akanji and Foden and keeps the ball for Aston Villa. Good skill there from Yuri Tielemans. Pau Torres. Ball through, looking for Watkins. Cut out by Diaz. Poor clearance from the Portuguese centre-half as Digne is brought down from behind there by Kyle Walker. Free kick for the home side. No complaints there from the Manchester City captain. Digne just got there ahead of Kyle Walker. And a couple of pulls on the arm and a foul on the right leg of Digne. It's right near the edge of the box as well, on the left-hand side, so more of an angle for a cross than a shot for Aston Villa. We've got Douglas Luiz closest to it. He's got Digne as well just next to him. It's a one-man wall for Manchester City. It's Bernardo Silva taking up that duty. Got Leon Bailey, who's having a conversation with here, Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz ready to take this free kick. As he steps up, swings it, and it's headed away over the bar by Ezri Konsa. Just on the 6-yard line. He'd just got there ahead of Ederson, who was coming for the ball. And I think Ederson believed he was going to catch that, but it was taken away from his hands by Ezri Konsa, who had just got in there and won the header, but hit the top of his head. And it sailed over the crossbar in the end for Aston Villa's number 4, unfortunately. But some shaky goalkeeping there from Ederson, as he sprays out to the right side here for Kyle Walker. He's got Stones nearest to him. Goes backwards instead to Diaz in the 18-yard area. Once more to Ederson, who clears first time with his right boot. Helped on by Rico Lewis. Now finds Erling Haaland on halfway. Bernardo Silva on the right. Inside to Alvarez in the centre circle. In the Aston Villa half. He's got options left and he'll find Foden in the final third. He goes back here to Gvardiol. Forward to Akanji. Forward into Alvarez in the box. It's a great pass. Ball across. It comes off Pau Torres over the crossbar, but the flag's gone up there. I think Alvarez was offside as the ball was played through to him by Akanji. It was a smart ball from Manuel Akanji, because he had Foden as the obvious option to his left, but he spun it around instead to Alvarez, who would have been just offside on the edge of the 18-yard area. Right call from the assistant referee on that far side, Lee Betts. That's the free kick for Aston Villa. Half an hour played. Ball out to the left of Digne. Closed down quickly by Bernardo Silva inside his own half, but he goes backwards towards his own goal to Pau Torres. Simple ball to his right here to Emi Martinez, who's only got the one ever win previously against Manchester City. Came in an Arsenal shirt in the FA Cup semi-final, which Arsenal went on to win that year. McGinn, ball over the top to Digne, who's got forward from full-back. Final third, cross goes in. Bailey on the volley, and it's over the bar. Wild from the former Bayer Leverkusen winger, Leon Bailey, £30 million signing 2 years ago. Good one too there from Digne, who played it to McGinn on halfway. He then put it over the top for Digne to get there ahead of Walker. About 12 yards out towards the near post, Leon Bailey slammed it over the crossbar. Ederson, again another ball out to right back Walker. Back into the 18-yard box with Ruben Diaz. Now left back Gvardiol in his defensive third here. Shifts it forward, deflects off Bailey. Tielemans on the edge, wants to shoot quickly. And it's just deflected away, and it's a good block in the end by Gvardiol. Nice flip by Foden into Alvarez. Ball over the top. Can't find Haaland as he was just trying to time his run there and just couldn't quite time the pass correctly. But Gvardiol, he's had a bit of a shaky start to his Manchester City career. You can tell he's just getting to grips with the team and the way of playing. Just another loose ball there. Won back by Leon Bailey, and it gave Tielemans a chance to shoot on the edge of the box. But he did recover and block that shot. Took the sting out of the attempt. As we're midway inside the City half on the far side, Digne goes back to McGinn towards the halfway line. Try to turn away from Rico Lewis here, John McGinn. He goes across to the right here to Diego Carlos. Right back Konsa. And then saves it, takes it on once more to Emi Martinez. High ball out to the left, looking for Digne. Header won against Kyle Walker, but the header forward by Digne drops only as far as Ruben Diaz. It's now with John Stones, slips as he makes the pass, but it does find itself out to the right towards Kyle Walker, who's passed back towards Ederson. Was nearly intercepted by Ollie Watkins. Got a slight touch on it as the Aston Villa striker, but couldn't quite take it under control, and eventually the ball went through to Edison. But that's a risky ball, that, from Kyle Walker, as it looks like Luca Digne is in a little bit of pain here on his left side. As he went for the header with Kyle Walker, he just elbowed slightly, just under the left nipple area. So we're going to have a little stoppage here for Luca Digne, as Liverpool still 1-0 up against Sheffield United away from home, 1-0. Fulham 3-0 up against Nottingham Forest. Raul Jimenez with a brace. Bournemouth still lead 1-0 away against Crystal Palace. Brighton now 2-1 up against Brentford. Jack Hinshelwood with his first Brighton goal. And still 1-0 at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Chelsea. So they're the scores from around the ground. Remember, we're commentating again tomorrow, Everton against Newcastle, 7:30 kickoff. Hopefully Luca Digne is okay to continue after that slight elbow into him by Kyle Walker. Nothing malicious from the Manchester City captain, as Pep Guardiola gives a few instructions to some Manchester City players during this stoppage. Looks like Luca Digne is going to be okay to continue. We've got 10 minutes of the 45 remaining. As we're back playing again in the right back area for Manchester City, and that's Kyle Walker on halfway. All Aston Villa players in their own half here, behind the ball, ready to defend as compact as possible. As Luca Digne is still waiting for the signal to come back on. Walker inside to Rico Lewis, edge of the 18-yard box, plays it across, looking towards Foden, cut out by Ezri Konsa. Goes to Torres, and then back to Emi Martinez in the 6-yard box, who clears it first time up towards halfway. Watkins can't beat Diaz to it. And it's now with the Manchester City centre-half, Ruben Diaz. It's now Alvarez on the left. Midway side the Villa half. He's got Foden with him, but he loses that to Kamara. Doing too much with it there, Alvarez. Not quite been in the goal-scoring form as of late, Julian Alvarez, even though he does have 4 goals this season. And 4 in the Champions League. Douglas Luiz in his 18-yard area. Just pulled back there by Rico Lewis, and that'll be a free kick just inside the 18-yard box for Aston Villa. As Rico Lewis just been a bit too aggressive with the press. Martinez out to the left, centre half here, Pau Torres. Forward to Digne. Forced back towards his own goal here. Spins and clears. And deflects off Kyle Walker and runs through to McGinn. Ball in behind into the Manchester City half. Watkins will chase it. Diaz will get there first. And he plays a simple ball back to Edison. As it's been Aston Villa with the majority of the shots in this first half. 11 shots, 4 on target. City just the 2 shots, 2 on target. Both through Erling Haaland. About 15 minutes in. Manchester City on the ball. Halfway line. Kyle Walker. Pass to his left to John Stones. And force back here to Diaz. And then once more towards Edison. Is being closed down here. Ruben Diaz by Yuri Tielemans. That's now with the number 31, Edison. 7 wins from 8 against Aston Villa. The only time he's not won was that draw last season at Villa Park, 1-1. Back in September. Stones forward to Rico Lewis. Loses out here to McGinn. He goes inside to Kamara. 25 yards from goal. Can't shoot. Goes back out to the left to McGinn. Who's got Digne running forward. Doesn't use the run of Digne again. McGinn. Goes back to Kamara. He goes back once more to Torres on halfway. Goes to his left to Kamara. Across to Carlos. Ball forward now to Watkins. His touches away from Diaz and plays it through down the right to Bailey, who will get there before it goes out. Can he keep it away from Gvardiol? No, he can't. Good tackle from the Croatian centre-half, who has it here in the left-back area. Ball to his right to Akanji. Drives forward here, Manuel Akanji, and plays out to the right to Kyle Walker. He'll take it forward. with a pass to Rico Lewis into the Aston Villa half. He's got Bernardo Silva bombing onto his right, and he'll play it to the former Monaco midfielder. Here is Bernardo Silva, trying to work it onto his left foot, midway side the Aston Villa half, but free kick's been given here, play's gone back. Rico Lewis just pulled back as he released it to Bernardo Silva, but the free kick's been taken quickly here with John Stones midway inside the Villa half. Halfway line here with Ruben Diaz. Simple 5-yard pass was right here to Kyle Walker. It's now with Ruben Diaz once again. Aston Villa very happy just to sit in their shape and defend and try and reduce City to as little shots as possible. Gvardiol goes all the way back to the edge of the 18-yard box here to Edison. Back forward again here to Ruben Diaz. Alvarez, short ball to Akanji, picked up by Douglas Luiz. Bailey forward to Tielemans. Back out to Bailey again on this near side. He's got Alvarez closing him down, but he gets away from Alvarez and into the box. Plays it to his left to Tielemans. On once more to Douglas Luiz. Can he work space for a shot? He's been forced out of the area for a pass to Konsa. He wants to try and cross, but can't because he's been closed down by Foden. It's now Luiz in a right wing position. Curls it in. Far post. It's been chested down by Bernardo Silva and cleared. Not convincing. Straight to Luca Digne from left back. Forward to cross it. It's a deep one. And it'll go right through towards Douglas Luiz. Can he keep it in on the near side? He does avoid the throw-in. And it's been kept here for Aston Villa. Good midfield work there from Douglas Luiz. So Ezri Konsa on halfway. Goes back to number 3. Diego Carlos. High ball. Up towards Watkins. Headed away by Akanji. It's now brought down by Leon Bailey. Getting away from the first challenge of Alvarez. And the second one of Akanji. In the final third. On the edge of the 18-yard box. Goes back 10 yards to Douglas Luiz. Then across to his left. To Pau Torres. Who puts a ball out to the right to Tielemans. Who works space for a cross. It's a whipped one in. It goes through towards Bernardo Silva at the far post. Who lays off to Walker. Who passes it firmly forward to Haaland. Who needs to release quickly, and he does do so, getting away from Pau Torres. It's now with Bernardo Silva. Midway side his own half here, Bernardo Silva. He's been tackled by McGinn and Torres. And McGinn plays it forward, looking towards Bailey, cut out by Akanji. City have possession back there. Akanji, ball poor. Can't find Alvarez. Douglas Luiz from afar. He's took on an audacious attempt. It was always rising over the crossbar for Aston Villa's number 6, Douglas Luiz. He's looking to score his 6th goal of the season. He's not scored any of his last 5, Douglas Luiz. He scored a brace against West Ham back in back on the 22nd of October. Edison out to Walker at right back. 4 minutes to go till we've played the first 45 of the game. Walker overrunning it against McGinn, who plays it forward to the edge of the box, trying to find Tielemans. Can't bring it down. Goes through to the left back, Gvardiol. It's now Alvarez on the left. Back to Gvardiol again. Edison slices his clearance straight out for a throw-in. In the final third on the near side. Poor that from Edison. Slicing it like that. Halfway line now, Kamara. All Manchester City players currently behind the ball. It's now right back Konsa. Midway side zone half is Carlos. To the left here to Pau Torres. Just about gets away from the challenge of Bernardo Silva. And the ball forward deflects off Lewis, but finds McGinn. Tries to go in behind, cut out by a slide challenge from Diaz. It's now Walker. Forward on halfway is Haaland. Back towards the Villa goals. He plays a simple ball here into Ruben Diaz. Do apologise. I'll have to get a drink at half time. Walker, ball over the top towards Alvarez. Can't quite bring it down, but it does enter the Aston Villa half. Conte's dealing with it at right back. Towards the corner flag here. Plays a ball to his left to Carlos. Forward out to the right towards Bailey. Prodded away by Alvarez. Only as far as Tielemans, who's brought down from behind there by Akanji. Free kick for Aston Villa. Well won by Yuri Tielemans. Did have a touchdown there, Alvarez, but wasn't in his path. Went closer instead to Ezri Konsa, who could eventually deal with it. Leon Bailey. He's got Gavardio right on his back, but he shifts it into the Villa half with Ezri Konsa on this near side. 43 minutes played, still 0-0. Both teams have had chances, but both goalkeepers have been equal to the attempts so far. It's now with Emi Martinez in the Aston Villa 18-yard box. Got time to play the ball forward, and he finds McGinn, who turns away from Stones and Bernardo Silva to play it back to Pau Torres. Forward again here, looking for Digne. Takes it on the turn forward, and he's been brought down from behind by Rico Lewis. That'll be a free kick just towards the halfway line for the home side. Got the ball moving again here with Douglas Luiz. Back to the Argentine Martinez. To his left to Pau Torres, being closed down here by Bernardo Silva, but moves it forward to Digne. First time pass intercepted by the head of John Stones. Balls back to Pau Torres. Nice ball into McGinn, who's been pushed down from behind there by John Stones. Free kick from given by the referee, and that will be the yellow card given. It's just inconsistent from John Brooks. Like, in fairness, it probably is a free kick, and it probably is a yellow. 2 hands in the back and also dragging him down. But, you know, Aston Villa had a few fouls where you probably would have given them yellow cards. It's just, I don't mind refs being consistent. Like, if you're not giving bookings, don't give bookings for anything, obviously, unless it's, you know, a wild challenge. And if you're giving bookings for a lot of little things, give bookings for every little thing. Don't pick and choose. There seems like he's pick and choosing when to give the yellow card there. As Kamara's ball through towards Watkins, comes off the back of his heel, but drops nicely for McGinn, who gets it back into the path of Watkins. His shot blocked on the angle from Edison. Falls out to the left side here to Digne. Into McGinn. 1-2. Digne, can he keep it in? He has crossed it, and the head's been won by Douglas Luiz. Off the post and in. There is an indication that it's gone out of play for a goal kick. I just believe that the ball had just overran on Luca Digne. It was a great header from Douglas Luiz, who's not scored in his last 5 games in the Premier League, and he's against his former side. I think that's just run out of play. It was indicated by the assistant referee on this near side, Akil Housen. Yeah, that's gone out of play. Well out of play. Right decision from the officials. And we're back underway. Midway side, the City half on the left side here with Gavardio. Back into a can. He's just dropped into a centre-half position for Manchester City. As Stones then becomes the holding midfielder, and Alvarez and Rico Lewis drop in as the 2 central midfielders. High ball down the line, looking for Haaland on halfway. Cut out by Digne. Poor ball in the end by Diaz, but that's a poor header back by Douglas Luiz, and Rico Lewis can charge forward. He's got Bernardo Silva out to his right. And he'll feed it to Bernardo Silva, who keeps it under his control. Into the box here. Onto his left foot. Ball towards the far post. Konsa miscues the header. And he doesn't just miscue it. He completely misses it. And he goes straight through for a goal kick. Quite fortunate there for Ezri Konsa, because Foden was coming in behind there for the chance. Didn't get close enough to him there. Pau Torres allowed Bernardo Silva to cross. And as it went towards the far post, Foden kind of took his eyes off it a bit, because he believed that Ezri Konsa was going to head it away. But eventually, Aston Villa have got away with that one a little bit. With their number 4, Ezri Konsa, playing his 160th game tonight for Aston Villa. No wins in his previous 6 against Manchester City. Manchester City have won 25 of their last 26 games played on a Wednesday in the Premier League. Only game that wasn't a win was a 1-1 draw at Brighton at the back end of last season in May. So they usually like playing on Wednesday nights. Manchester City, as Ruben Diaz deals with an attack down the Villa left, and that'll be the last play of the half. John Brooks blows for half-time, and it is Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 0. Both sides have had chances, and it was Aston Villa who started the better side with the possession, forcing a save from Edison, from Leon Bailey and Pau Torres. And the first chance for Manchester City came 10 minutes in. It was a double save from Martinez, both on Erling Haaland, who was played through by Foden on the left side of the box, played it across goal towards the right-hand side of the goal, but it was saved by Martinez. He parried it out to Bernardo Silva, who crossed it back to the far post, where Erling Haaland's header was again saved, this time at the near post, by Emi Martinez. to stop Haaland scoring on his 50th Premier League appearance. And throughout the whole half, it was quite 50-50, back and forth, both teams having spells of possession and spells of chances. Where in the 22nd minute, Konsa found Bailey in a pocket of space. He went through the middle, and he had a shot at goalie on Bailey outside the 18-yard box, but unfortunately he went straight down the middle of the goal, and it was tipped over in the end by Edison. A couple of shots here and there for Aston Villa and Manchester City. And the stats at half-time, Aston Villa with 13 shots, 5 on target. Manchester City with just the 2 shots and the 2 on target. And the possession is 48% for Aston Villa and 52% for Manchester City. So on the stats of shots, obviously it looks like Aston Villa are dominating, but City have had their spells of the possession, but just not quite able to get shots away. Where, on the other hand, Aston Villa are having the possession and are able to get their shots away. So, for me, I think both sides have had equal spells on the ball, hence the possession being so close. But it is Aston Villa breaking through and getting their shots off. And Edison has made some good saves, especially the one on Pau Torres, within about 8 minutes, going in towards the top left corner. But at half-time at Villa Park, it is 0-0. City are enjoying time on the ball, but just not working the shots at Emi Martinez. And when they have had shots on goal, both on target, and they were both saved from the Aston Villa goalkeeper on Erling Haaland. And Aston Villa are making sure they get their shots off, 13, 5 on target. As at Old Trafford, we've had an equaliser. Manchester United 1, Chelsea 1. Former Manchester City man Cole Palmer with the goal. It doesn't look like it came from the penalty spot. See if we can get a description of the goal. Looks like a finish into the bottom right corner. So 1-1 at Old Trafford. You've got Liverpool still just a 1 goal up away at Sheffield United under, I say, new manager. He's returning once again. Chris Wilder. Fulham 4-0 up at Nottingham Forest. Braces from Iwobi and Jimenez. And Nottingham Forest are 13 points now. 16th in the table. 6 away from the drop. I think Steve Cooper's on thin ice. Because I did their last game against Everton and they were shocking at home. And they're in a really bad run of form. I think it's 1 win now in 11, including tonight, for Nottingham Forest in the league. I think it's, 1 win in their last 11. So Steve Cooper could be seeing the sack. We'll have to wait and see, but that's a great result for Fulham. 4-0 up, takes them up to 13th in the table. Brighton still 2-1 up on Brentford at home. Palace still trying to claw back against Bournemouth. That's 1-0 at Selhurst Park to Bournemouth, who would see themselves go up to 15th, and that would put them 9 points off the drop. Seems like it's starting to click a little bit more for Bournemouth under their new head coach, Adoni Iraola. So we will tune into the Sheffield United-Liverpool game during half-time as we'll await for the restart at Villa Park in around 15 minutes' time. If you are new, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Got another commentary coming tomorrow, and that's Everton-Newcastle at Goodison Park. We're covering Newcastle again at the weekend on Sunday, 4:30, taking on as they take on Tottenham away from home. That'll be a good one. And Postecoglou against Eddie Howe. So we're Bramall Lane. Long throw in here for Sheffield United. In the box it goes, headed away by Gomez. Only in the sky though. It helped on again. Sheffield United a chance could drop here in the end. It's dealt with by Alexander-Arnold. It's very interesting now. It is only the 1 goal, so Sheffield United still in it. You might remember Sheffield United came close to picking up a point against Manchester City early on in the season. Got an equaliser late on, but conceded literally a couple minutes later to a Rodri thunderstrike in the top left corner. So Sheffield United have shown glimpses in the season that they can perform in this division, like for their win against Wolves, and just seems like confidence was lost in the last game under Paul Heckingbottom. As there is Simon Hooper refereeing tonight once again after his ludicrous error at the Etihad on the Sunday, stopping that advantage from Manchester City from the Erling Haaland ball through to Grealish. And he sees no punishment for making one of the worst errors I think I've ever seen in the Premier League. It's, my problem with the Simon Hooper error is the fact he got it so right and then so wrong. There's the contrast of actually doing the right thing then getting it wrong. It's what makes it worse for me. Like he was doing the right thing by playing the advantage, but everyone's going to move on now. That's in the past. As Manchester City need to win tonight to keep up with Liverpool. They are currently a point behind Liverpool before each other played their games. Alexander-Arnold, ball through to Núñez in the box. Good save by Fotheringham. Out to Harvey Elliott, who recycles it in the box. Cross goes in, falls right through to Joe Gomez, who shoots, and it goes over the bar. A little chance there for Liverpool. But as it stands, if the results stay the same, so if Liverpool win and Manchester City draw, Liverpool would be 3 points ahead of Manchester City, and Arsenal would be 6 ahead of Manchester City on the same games played. Aston Villa would still be just the 1 point behind Manchester City, 4 behind Liverpool, and 6 behind Arsenal. City will be 5 behind Arsenal, sorry, not 6. So, be a fantastic win for Liverpool away at Bramall Lane. Should have really scored there, Darwin Núñez at the near post. Good save though by Fotheringham. Don't take anything away from the goalkeeper's save there. But hopefully we do get a goal or two in the second half at Villa Park in the game we are covering here on the Football Commentaries YouTube channel. The commentaries that should be coming up next week, all being well. Let's have a look for you. So on the Monday, we're going into League One, and we're going to be covering Portsmouth taking on Bolton, 2 teams high up in the league in League One, and then we've got a Europa League game on the Thursday, Real Betis against Rangers, a game that both need to win to try and qualify for the knockout stages of the Europa League, and then we've got a game on the Saturday, 5:30, Burnley taking on Everton. I don't think we'll do Burnley-Everton, because I think I've got a game myself that I'm going to. So, 3 games so far that are definitely going to happen, and that is Portsmouth, Bolton, Real Betis, Rangers, and Liverpool, Man United. So I'm going to try and squeeze another game in that week. So there's definitely 3 commentaries next week, minimum, in League One. And then covering the Europa League and the Premier League. So always trying to cover different divisions and competitions. Unfortunately this week we've had a full Premier League games and commentaries, because obviously with the midweek games all being spread out nicely, it'd be rude not to cover 3 Premier League games on the bounce. It's still 1-0 with just over 10 minutes to go between Sheffield United and Liverpool. As we do wait for the second half between Aston Villa and Manchester City. No other scores around the grounds. 1-1 at half-time now between Manchester United and Chelsea. Fulham 4-0 up at Forest. I think that'll be Steve Cooper gone. In all honesty, there was talks of him being under pressure in the last few games, and that result against Everton at home was pretty poor. Really bad performance, really. Ball down the left channel here for Darwin Núñez. Keeps it moving to Jones. Definitely could really do with a second if they want to see through these 3 points, quite calmly. Canate driving forward from centre half. Falling into a bit of traffic. I think that'll be a free kick there, won by Canate. Let's have a look here. The Palmer goal. Mudryk took it on the turn nicely, played it through to Palmer. It just entered the 18-yard box, shot towards the bottom right corner, and it just about crept into the bottom right corner. Onana was certainly scrambling towards it. Not the most powerful of shots by Cole Palmer, but it was just one where Onana couldn't quite make it. So Alexander-Arnold over a free kick here. Head of the wave for Sheffield United. Now Szoboszlai to Alexander-Arnold again. To the left to Harvey Elliott from afar. He's going to wind a shot up. He'll take it on. Blocked again. Headed forward though for Liverpool in the box. Konate brought down. Nothing given. And eventually Sheffield United can deal with the ball. Clearing it through Cameron Archer. As we are going to turn back over now to Aston Villa Manchester City, as we'll be getting back underway again in a minute's time. But we will keep up to date with the scores from around the grounds in the Premier League. No other goals as of yet anywhere else. But it has come out that Kevin De Bruyne, interestingly enough, will travel with Manchester City's squad to Saudi Arabia for the FIFA Club World Cup as a club captain, but he will not be fit to play any game. So Kevin De Bruyne will be in the squad for Manchester City for their Club World Cup, which is coming up this month. Later on this month, they travel to Saudi Arabia, Manchester City. I'm not sure if their games have been confirmed yet. I probably should know as a commentator, but we'll find out now. So due to winning the Champions League, they go into the Club World Cup, and if they win the Club World Cup, they'll get that nice badge down the centre of their kit. So they've got Luton at the weekend, and they've got Red Star in the Champions League, then Crystal Palace on the 16th of December, and then, yeah, they've got a Club World Cup semi-final on the 19th, and then a final, I presume, on the weekend, if they win. And then they've got Everton on the 27th, so a very tight turnaround for Manchester City. I'm sure Pep will not like that, but when you win competitions, you win, you play more games. It's as simple as that. As we are waiting for the players to return here for the second half between Aston Villa and Manchester City. Pep Guardiola is yet to lose against this side. 9 games, 8 wins, 1 draw. One of those wins being a League Cup final back in March 2020, just before COVID hit. But on the head-to-head, it is Manchester City, the team on top. As the goal as well for Liverpool is so poor. It's a corner from Alexander-Arnold, and Van Dijk is left all alone in the box to volley it home into the bottom left corner. But yeah, head-to-head record, Manchester City have won 80. Aston Villa have won 57. Last draw we had in this fixture, the last 0-0, in this fixture, was back in November 2015. So we haven't had a 0-0 for a while. Hopefully tonight isn't the night where we get the next 0-0 between these two. Let's hope for some goals if possible. Still Liverpool, just the one up. Bournemouth holding on. Fulham now 5-0 up. Tom Kearney getting on the score sheet, going from bad to worse for Nottingham Forest and Steve Cooper. So here come the Aston Villa players. They're first out from the tunnel. And it was a positive half for Aston Villa, getting those shots away at Edison, who was equal to it. As Edison looks for his 6th clean sheet of the season in all competitions. It'd be his 5th in the Premier League, picking up clean sheets against Burnley, Newcastle, Forest and Man United. As Edison got his lowest ever tally of clean sheets last season. He only got 11, and his second lowest from 11 is 17, and he got that in the 2017-18 season and the 2019-20 season. So it was a record low clean sheets last season for Manchester City with Edison. But they still went on and won the league anyway, so I don't think Edison will really care. And here come Manchester City. Don't think we're getting any changes from either team, from the looks of it. There is Unai Emery, the 52-year-old Spaniard, who has managed 5 games against Manchester City. Unai Emery, and has lost all 5. 2 as Sevilla boss in 2015, 2 as Arsenal boss in 2018-2019 season, then 1 as Aston Villa manager in the last meeting between these two last season, back in mid-February. 3-1 defeat. First half goals from Rodri, Gundogan and Amara's penalty was too much for Aston Villa to turn back around, even though Watkins did score in the 61st minute. As we're back underway, Aston Villa kicking right to left, Manchester City left to right. The away side already on the ball, trying to attack with Bernardo Silva on the left-hand side. Plays it forward to Phil Foden down the line, but he's offside. I could see that from a mile away. Poor that from Foden to go so early. Get that timer back underway, and here we go. For the start of the second half, Bournemouth have gone 2-0 up away at Crystal Palace. Kiefer Moore, and that's 3 points for Bournemouth. As Crystal Palace are struggling at the minute under Roy Hodgson. As we've got Bernardo Silva on the ball here for Manchester City, midway side his own half, turning away from the press of Ollie Watkins. Playing out to the left here to John Stones, who's currently at left centre half alongside Ruben Diaz. Plays it forward to Alvarez. Back here into John Stones towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Into the box it goes to Edison, who's allowed to take a touch and plays it forward to Alvarez. Moves it away from Douglas Luiz into Diaz. Walker on this near side. Back into Akanji. Uses Edison once again. It's now Bernardo Silva in the right back area for Manchester City. He really can play everywhere, can't he? Manchester City number 20. 29 years of age now. Bernardo Silva signed a new contract in August till 2026. He has got the 2 goals against Aston Villa previously. 1 at this ground in December 2021 in a 2-1 win where he scored with fellow Portuguese international Ruben Diaz. Bernardo Silva. Walker to his right, goes forward instead to Rico Lewis, and out to the right to Kyle Walker. Into the Aston Villa half we go. With Bernardo Silva again. Finds the ball inside to Akanji. Again back out to the right to Walker. Lewis making a run ahead of him. Walker goes on his own, then plays it to Lewis in the 18-yard box. Back into Akanji. Goes to his left here to John Stones. Midway inside the Aston Villa half. He's got Tielemans closing him down. Lays it into the centre circle with Ruben Diaz. It's now Bernardo Silva. Gavardio back into Diaz. Has to put a high ball out to the left for Foden, who nods it down the line to Alvarez, who gets there ahead of Kamara. Alvarez on the edge of the box. Tries to play it out to the right side. Cut out by Douglas Luiz, but it comes off his knee to Akanji, who lifts the ball over the top, looking for Kyle Walker, who is beaten to it there by Luca Digne, but then gets in front of Luca Digne. But the foul's been given against him there, Kyle Walker. Just a pull on the arm there of Luca Digne. Yeah, just put his arm around him there, Kyle Walker, to get ahead of the former Barcelona and Everton fullback. That'll be a free kick just inside the 18-yard box here for Aston Villa. With Pau Torres stood over it. Diego Carlos at right centre half. Ezri Konsa at right back. Tight spaces. Got Foden right on his back. Goes back to Diego Carlos towards the corner flag, who clears it down the Aston Villa right on the far side. It is found Leon Bailey, but he's dispossessed by Gavardio. Foden tackle from behind by Konsa. Ball drops to Watkins and out to the left to Digne. Chance here for Aston Villa. As the ball enters the Manchester City half, it's been cut out by the thighs of Ruben Diaz. Wasn't allowing that to get behind him for Ollie Watkins. And it's back in the possession of the away team. So now with number 5, John Stones. Bernardo Silva. Walker on the right, into the Aston Villa half. He's got Lewis to his left. He's got Haaland making a run in the box. Walker goes back here to Bernardo Silva. On halfway line is Ruben Diaz. All Aston Villa plays again behind the ball, setting up so strongly. This is why Manchester City have barely had any shots. They only had 2 from Erling Haaland early on in the game. Because Aston Villa are just setting up so rigidly. Manchester City are finding it hard to get through. Kyle Walker forward to Lewis, back to Kyle Walker on halfway again. Still having the ball quite deep here, Manchester City. Gavardio down the line looking for Alvarez. Could out by the slide challenger Kamara, who can't quite keep it away from Alvarez. And the Argentine turns forward and plays the ball forward to Foden. Tries to return it to Alvarez. Tackled by Konsa. Now Douglas Luiz goes back to the 18-yard area here to turning Australian. Diego Carlos. Martinez to his left to Pau Torres, who the ball rolls under his foot. Throwing next to the corner flag for Manchester City. Rico Lewis takes it quickly into Kyle Walker. Sloppy that from Pau Torres, allowing the ball to go under his foot to concede the throw in so deep in his own half. It's now Ruben Diaz, about 40 yards from goal. Goes to his left here to Akanji. On once more to Gavardio. Driving forward and finding Alvarez. Lays it off in towards John Stones, who'd made a run into the 18-yard area. I think he would have been offside, but the pass was misplaced anyway. From Julian Alvarez. Decent football, good pass from Gavardio to find Alvarez in the pocket of space. And John Stones had just gone early with his run into the 18-yard box, but Martinez was there to the ball first anyway. As Aston Villa tried to go down the right flank with Leon Bailey. Tackle from behind by Gavardio. It's now with Phil Foden on the far side. He goes back into Gavardio. £77 million man at the back for Manchester City. They've been the team in possession for the start of this second half. Ruben Diaz. Forward and out to the right to Kyle Walker. He's getting a bit more forward now from full-back. Manchester City's number 2. Goes backwards here to Rico Lewis. Furthest right to Bernardo Silva. Everything to his left. He goes backwards here to Diaz. Across to his left to Akanji. Nice ball into Kyle Walker. Just in that gap between midfield and attack for Aston Villa. So not quite getting in between the lines. Between the midfielders and defenders. It's John Stones on the ball. Turns nicely away from Douglas Luiz, but can't get away from the challenger Watkins from behind, who gets back to help his defence out. It's now begin with a sloppy ball inside. Finds Akanji in the centre circle. No Aston Villa plays near the pass. Don't know who he was aiming for, the former Hibs midfielder. As the ball goes forward to Bernardo Silva. In the final third, he's Rico Lewis. Ball inside. Akanji runs into his own teammate, Bernardo Silva. Ball drops on the edge to Douglas Luiz, who's been stopped there by Rico Lewis. Pulls the shirt. Yellow card for the number 82. Knew exactly what he was doing there, Rico Lewis. Stopping Douglas Luiz and getting a good grip of his shirt. I mean, nearly pulled it off there. Rico Lewis. Making his 36th appearance for Manchester City in the first team. His 24th start. At the age of 19 now. His birthday was in late November. 21st of November to be exact. Making his first start for Manchester City in the Premier League. Since that defeat at Arsenal. And that was Manchester City's last defeat in all competitions. Naomi Martinez, forward to Kamara. Out to the right it goes, number 3, Diego Carlos. Forward beautifully into the centre circle to Douglas Luiz. Tries to find Watkins in behind. Again, well dealt with by Ruben Diaz. As the Edison touch is just about close enough to him to clear ahead of Watkins. Out towards the City left, dealt with by Konsa. And Kamara will go back here to Diego Carlos, midway side the Aston Villa half. And the home side are back on the ball with Torres. Forward to McGinn. Still inside the Aston Villa half, here it is. Douglas Luiz again. It's now with right back Konsa. Leon Bailey being followed here by Gavardio. Forced back to Konsa. Who's going all the way back to Remy Martinez. Aston Villa number 1. It's a simple ball to Pau Torres on the edge of the 18-yard box. Forward, laid off to Watkins, or he's attempted to by Douglas Luiz, but the poor City clearance has been picked up by Luca Digne. 1-2 here with McGinn. Digne can't quite beat Ruben Diaz to it. And City are back on the ball inside their own half and in their own 18-yard box with Edison. Simple ball to his right here to Kyle Walker. His pass forward was intercepted by Yuri Tielemans. Be a throw in the right back area for Manchester City on this near side. Just under 10 minutes of the second half played. Still 0-0 here at Villa Park. Haaland getting away from Pau Torres. He's got Foden in behind to the left. Can he feed it to him? Mistimes the run. Foden will be offside. The flag stays down. Foden shoots. It's saved. And the flag eventually goes up. Just not on the same wavelength. Foden wanted it a lot earlier. But Haaland hesitated. And when he eventually played the ball, Foden had mistimed the run. As Liverpool are now 2-0 up. Dominic Szoboszlai with the goal at Sheffield United. So it's 3 points for Liverpool, which currently puts them 3 ahead of Manchester City in the table. If this result stays the same. Fulham have won 5-0 against Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth have taken 3 points away at Crystal Palace. Brighton still lead 2-1 at Brentford. No clean sheets all season in the Premier League still for Brighton. And Chelsea are still drawing 1-1 away at Manchester United. It's now with Emi Martinez for Aston Villa. Works out to the left back, Digne, midway side his own half. On the near side, Luiz, first time ball, down the channel, looking for Watkins. It's dealt with by Diaz, cleared straight out of play, throwing on halfway for the home side. Diego Carlos at the back for Aston Villa. Out to the left towards Douglas Luiz, one Brazilian to another. Still inside the Aston Villa half here. Goes back into Emi Martinez. 31 years of age now, the former Arsenal goalkeeper. It's a nice ball forward. That's in between the lines to Kamara, who drives forward away from the Aston Villa half. And a ball forward to Watkins. Lays it off to the left to Digne. Forward from fullback. He's got McGinn forward ahead of him. Instead goes to his right to Kamara. Back heels it into Douglas Luiz, 30 yards from goal. Sprays it out to the right, cut out by Gvardiol. But only as far as Leon Bailey, who attempts to turn the Croatian. Still got it here, Leon Bailey. One-on-one with Gvardiol. Onto his left foot. Plays the ball into Tielemans, tries the 1-2, cut out by Akanji on the edge of the 18-yard box, who can drive forward here for Manchester City, but the pass has been blocked by Kamara. Luiz from the far, shoots it, deflects off Watkins and into the hands of Ederson. I believe Watkins may have been offside anyway, as that shot was taken by Luiz. Just not quite clicking, is it, tonight so far for Manchester City in that midfield? It's kind of where it's been a little bit loose, giving the ball away a couple of times. Not having that glue in the midfield with Rodri, as they lost all 3 games they played with him. Without him, sorry. Rodri losing against Newcastle in the League Cup, then in the Premier League to Wolves and Arsenal. Their only 2 losses so far this season. Diaz, midway side, his own half here. All Aston Villa plays behind the ball. As Diaz goes for an audacious ball out to the left. It's in behind Konsa. Foden will chase it. Konsa will nod it ahead of Foden. And Konsa right on the corner flag here. Turns, clears. Picked up by Gvardiol, who's being pulled back there by Leon Bailey. Free kick for Manchester City on the far side. Midway side, the opposition half. So a decent area to put a cross in here. Well won by Gvardiol. Just arms around him there from Leon Bailey. Just wanting a hug there from Gvardiol, I think, the Jamaican. It's Bernardo Silva over it with Julian Alvarez. As it is full time between Brighton and Brentford, 2-1 at the Amex. Still 1-1 between United and Chelsea. And it will be Bernardo Silva to put the cross into the box. It's gone all the way through, misses everyone. And it finds Digne at left back, who will take the ball forward, clears it down the line. It's a low ball to McGinn, who loses out to Rico Lewis. So on halfway line here with number 2, Kyle Walker, who's making his 275th appearance tonight for Manchester City. Kyle Walker. There's a Kanji out to the right to Rico Lewis. Almost in a right wing position here, the number 82. Goes to his left to Bernardo Silva. Edge of the box. Back out to the right to Akanji. In a little bit of an unnatural position so high up the field. Manuel Akanji. But he finds Walker. And returns it back to Akanji. He's now in the centre circle with Ruben Diaz. Akanji again. He's just caught there by Watkins, but got away with that. Akanji held on to the ball for far too long. And as Akanji nearly lost possession of the ball, it was nearly nicked away from him by Watkins, who just caught Akanji in the face as he tried to win the ball back. Yeah, just about moved it away from Watkins there. Akanji got lucky big time because Watkins was close. Just had a few nibbles there at Akanji. And Watkins goes in the book for the challenge. It's now back in possession for Manchester City. Diaz on halfway. To his left to Gvardiol. Inside to Akanji, who moves it away from Louise and finds John Stones, who's tackled by McGinn. Loose ball drops to Tielemans. Aston Villa have it. And out to the right it goes to Leon Bailey. It's a heavy pass, but he keeps it in. He's now running at Gvardiol into the final third. Driving onto his left foot. Back heeling it through to Tielemans, who I think's onside, and he pulls it across, and it's cleared by Diaz. It'll drop through to Konsa, who's got forward from right back. He's got Alvarez trying to get the ball off him, but he keeps it moving to Kamara. Forward, 30 yards from goal now is Leon Bailey. Goes back into Kamara to keep possession for the home side. Pau Torres forward into the channel of McGinn on the left-hand side. McGinn tries to play it through to Digne. Finds the Frenchman as he kicks it off Walker. Be a corner kick for Aston Villa on the near side. They've got a good little bit of chemistry and link up every time I watch them, McGinn and Digne, down that Aston Villa left. It is good to see. Two players linking up, working well together instead of just seeing individual quality. So on this near side, right-footed in swinger by Douglas Luiz. The 6-yard area is packed out. In it goes to the near post, all the way through to Watkins. He strikes, it's blocked. Pau Torres keeps it alive with the header. Drops to the ground in the end, and it's Diaz to hook it away. Straight back in the sky, though. As it's allowed to bounce. And headed away by Diaz. Eventually drops to Alvarez, who will slam it away. I can't believe that ball just bounced in the 18-yard area like it did. The clearance goes through to Martinez in the Aston Villa half, who will send it forward. It's a high ball down the left-hand side. Header won by Walker. Drops on as far as Douglas Luiz. He plays it forward nicely to Leon Bailey. 25 yards from goal. Onto his left foot. Plays out to the left of Digne. Across it goes. Blocked by Diaz and hooked away by the left foot of Walker. Kept alive for Aston Villa by Torres. Oh, what a nice flip from Tielemans out to the right to Konsa, who puts it in. Collected by Edison ahead of Watkins. Nice bit of skill, though, that from Tielemans to play out to the right-hand side to an attacking Ezri Konsa. Great bit of skill from Aston Villa's number 8. Yuri Tielemans made the 195 appearances for Leicester City in his time at the club, winning an FA Cup and a Community Shield, before unfortunately ending the last campaign in relegation, where he scored 3 goals in the Premier League, all away from home. Tielemans, as he is yet to score in the league for Aston Villa since joining on a free in the summer. It's now Manchester City on the ball, under half an hour to play, just about to hit the 63rd minute. It's Edison on the ball. It's now Akanji at left centre half. Into Bernardo Silva in the midfield. Misplaced ball, can't find Stones. Leon Bailey out to the left to McGinn. He's got one-on-one with Diaz. Gets beyond the Portuguese international. McGinn! Oh, it's gone wide. He's got to do better. It goes straight through for a goal kick. McGinn went on the inside, took it on his weaker foot. And that's shocking from Manchester City. Given away by Bernardo Silva, looking for John Stones. Good work from Bailey to fire it out quickly to the left to McGinn, who took on Diaz really well. And he went onto his right foot instead of going onto his left. Diaz committed early. And McGinn had the shot towards the far corner. I don't think it came off Edison. Went just a yard wide. And he's got to at least get that on target, John McGinn. Not good enough. And it stays 0-0. The ball fired up towards Haaland, who's battling with Diego Carlos. And it's the Aston Villa defender to come away with a free kick. Being two-man handled there by Erling Haaland as he complains to the referee. Still 1-1 at Old Trafford with half an hour to go in that one. Ezri Konsa down the line for Aston Villa. Finds Leon Bailey, who's been forced back into his own half here. He's been surrounded by City shirts, but he keeps it away from them. And now Konsa at right back. Cleared eventually by Carlos. into the path of Tielemans, who flicks it on into Watkins on halfway. Plays into the path of Kamara. Loads of space out on the left here. Played forward to McGinn. Out to the right here to Bailey. He's been forced out wide. Flag stays down from the linesman. Bailey. Cross. Blocked by Gavardio. Headed away by Akanji. Brought down by Konsa. And back it goes to the halfway line to Carlos. You feel like City have got to change something. Because what they're doing just isn't working at the minute. Pal Torres. Forward to Watkins. 25 yards from goal. Back to goal as well. He goes into the path of Kamara. 1-2 with Tielemans. Kamara. Edge of the box. Out to the left to Digne. In the 18-yard area. Hesitates. Eventually plays a low ball into McGinn. He's trying to work space for a cross himself. In it goes. It's volleyed away by Alvarez. Kept alive here for Torres. As Aston Villa come again. Down the left with Digne in the final third. Crosses. Volleyed away by Stones. Drops to Pal Torres. Literally the same thing that just happened a minute ago. Douglas Luiz, 25 minutes to go. Still 0-0 here. Aston Villa, well and truly in this game. Probably the better side the last 5 or 10 minutes. Unai Emery's boys. As Aston Villa have picked up no victories in their last 15 in all competitions against Manchester City. And if they're going to change that fortune, it's going to be today. Because they're definitely in the game and they're showing themselves to be a very strong top 4 side. Kamara through to the edge of the box to Tielemans. Tries to find the path of Bailey. Short pass cleared by Gavardio. It's not great though. Drops straight to Bailey, who will shoot off Gavardio. And he'll go for a corner. And Manchester City have got their backs against the wall here. Poor clearance from Gavardio. Fell straight back to Bailey as they've taken the corner quickly. To the edge of the box to Digne. 10-yard pass to his right to McGinn. Playing it through. Cut out by the head of Alvarez. 1-2 with Rico Lewis. Back into the number 82. Rico Lewis loses it with a heavy touch. And it's back with Aston Villa in the centre circle with Kamara. It's now Ezri Konsa. Midway side the City half, here's Tielemans. Konsa forward to Kamara. He's got Bailey furthest right and he plays it to the Jamaican who goes inside. Can't find Tielemans. Cut out by Akanji. Overruns the ball to Kamara. But he was fouled there, Akanji, as he was trying to release it. Pulled back by Yuri Tielemans. Three wins for Aston Villa in the last 25 games against Manchester City. If we go back to 2009, 3 wins coming at home in the Premier League in January 2011, winning away in the League Cup in September 2012, and then their last win in this fixture at home in September 2013 as Rico Lewis and Julian Alvarez will both be departing the field as Manchester City make their first changes of the game. And they'll be replaced by Mateo Kovacic and Mateus Nunes. Rico Lewis just struggled slightly tonight. But he has come up against a good, strong midfield. Aston Villa, that's probably their strongest part of the pitch, I think, their midfield. And Alvarez just couldn't quite get into the game in an attacking sense for Manchester City. As it will be the exact same setup as we see on my screen, but Alvarez and Lewis have been replaced by Kovacic and Nunes in those positions. Foden, first time ball, looking for Haaland on the halfway line, nowhere near the Norwegian. Falls straight through to Diego Carlos. And if Haaland doesn't score tonight, that will mean he's averaged a goal every game in the Premier League. It's his 50th appearance. He's already got the 50 goals, which came against Liverpool in that 1-1 draw at the Etihad recently. Ezri Konsa passing the halfway line, playing out to the right to Tielemans. Bailey, first time ball forward to Konsa. Good football, back into the path of Tielemans, who can't have the pace on Akanji. City possession with Gavardi at left back, inside to Nunes, getting his first touches of the ball here off the bench. The signing from Wolves, brought down from behind by Tielemans. Free kick here for Manchester City. Can he be the difference maker? Mateus Nunes back in the squad after missing a couple with injury. Only the 2 starts he's picked up so far this season. Mateus Nunes in the Premier League, at home to Forest and away to his former club Wolves. But still, City have only had 2 shots tonight, and they both came in the 10th minute through Erling Haaland. Shows the domination Aston Villa have had in this game, really. Especially defensively. They've definitely been on top in the defence, ahead of Manchester City's attackers. Walker, forward to Stones, takes it forward nicely away from Douglas Luiz, but the touch is heavy. But the clearance from Digne is deflected out to Kovacic. To the left to Phil Foden. Edge of the box. Crosses it. Chested down by Torres. That's some calm defending, that. And plays a great ball forward to Tielemans, who goes on once more to Leon Bailey. In behind. He can't get the head of Akanji. Well cleared by the Manchester City defender. But it is a throw-in on the far side for Aston Villa. Really calm defending from Torres to bring the ball down in the box and play it forward to Tielemans. Then his ball wasn't quite accurate enough to find Leon Bailey. 20 minutes to go here at Villa Park. Still 0-0. We haven't had a 0-0 in this fixture since November 2015, which came at this stadium. As McGinn's brought down by Diaz in the Manchester City half. Free kick for the home side. Bit Douglas Luiz over it. Pau Torres is going up for it. Yeah, they're sending the centre-backs forward for this one. As Manchester City are ready to bring on Oscar Bob as soon as possible. The young Norwegian, number 52. Be his 5th appearance in the league this season. Only start came in the League Cup in late September against Newcastle. He's yet to score for Manchester City for the first team. Douglas Luiz drifts it out to the right-hand side. It's gone over the head of Gvardiol on Leon Bailey. It'll be a throw-in for Manchester City in the left-back area. As Oscar Bob is just getting a few final instructions from Pep Guardiola. Gvardiol with the throw-in. Throws it down the line. Cut out, though, by Bailey. Drops in the end to Haaland as it came off Kamara. Foden to the right to Walker. Charges forward beyond the halfway line. He's got Bernardo Silva in front of him to the right, and he'll play it to the number 20. And now Walker overlaps. Doesn't play the ball to the number 2. He goes backwards instead here to Nunes. To the left to Kovacic. Akanji. Back into Diaz. City enjoying a bit of possession in the Aston Villa half. Not had a lot of it in this second half. In this area. City have got an hour in this game now without having another shot on goal. A whole 60 minutes without testing Emi Martinez. Kovacic getting away from Kamara. Out to the right here to Nunes. Charging forward. Clips the ball towards the far post where it'll be chased down by Gvardiol. Can't keep it in on the byline. Emi Martinez came for it. Couldn't get there. And then Gvardiol making a late run at the far post. Couldn't quite keep it in. And here comes City's third change. Phil Foden, the number 47, will be replaced by number 52, Oscar Bob. Who made his Norway debut for the senior side back in October and scored in November for them against the Faroe Islands. So Foden off for Bob, as we're yet to have any changes for Aston Villa. It's with right centre half here, Carlos. High ball, long ball forward into the City half, headed down by Gvardiol into Akanji, helped on towards Bob, poor touch, now Kamara. Tielemans tackled by Nunes, loose ball drops to Bailey, back to Konsa, then once more to Carlos. It's now Aston Villa on the ball inside their own half here with 17 minutes to play. Carlos forward, flicks forward into Bailey off Tielemans, and Bailey's away from Gvardiol, charging forward, 25 yards out, chops, shoots with the right foot, which deflects into the back of the net, and Aston Villa have a well-deserved lead against the champions, who are falling behind in the Premier League title race. And with this goal from Leon Bailey, Aston Villa leapfrog Manchester City into third place. It has a slice of fortune with the deflection. But Aston Villa have done more than enough to be in the lead tonight. Leon Bailey with the goal. He scored here last season to equalise for the home team in a 1-1 draw. He's now put them ahead this time. And as he got away from Gvardiol, he chopped back onto his right foot. And as the shot went towards goal, it deflected off Ruben Diaz and looped over Ederson into the back of the net. Just goes underneath the crossbar and in. Leon Bailey's had the better of Gvardiol for the majority of this game, and he's shown it there. pacing away from Gavardio, then chopping past him with a move onto his right foot where he was able to get the shot off Diaz, into the back of the net. And with 15 minutes to play at Villa Park, it's Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. Slice of luck, but sometimes that's what you need to go ahead in a football match. And that's what's happened with Leon Bailey. And as I've said, Manchester City haven't had a shot since the 10th minute of the game. And we're now in the 75th minute. Diaz, high ball over the top for the run of Walker. Gets there, byline, cuts it back. What a shocking ball that is. Easily dealt with by Pau Torres, who clears it long for Aston Villa. Headed down by Watkins into McGinn, who holds it up on the halfway line. And he turns away from Nunes and Bernardo Silva. Still McGinn on the ball, and he eventually plays it back to Digne to keep possession for Aston Villa. And with this win, if it stays this way, it'd be Unai Emery's 50th win as a Premier League manager. In his 50th game for Aston Villa, it'd be his 31st win as manager of this club, and they've deserved it. Pau Torres, ball forward to Douglas Luiz on the edge of the 18-yard box, moves it away from Bernardo Silva. And this would be Aston Villa's 14th win in a row at home in the Premier League. Their last loss coming in mid-February of this year to Arsenal. Nearly 10 months ago now. Halfway line now with Kyle Walker and Manchester City have got to try and do something drastic to change their fortunes. Forward to Walker, nice flick into Bernardo Silva, to the right to Nunes in a right wing position. Just runs straight into Digne, but he keeps it alive for Manchester City. Nunes drives on the inside away from McGinn, touches it to John Stones. Now Kovacic, 30 yards from goal. Can't play it out to the left to Bob. Instead goes back to John Stones, who works the ball away from Luiz. It's now Bernardo Silva. Turns away from Luiz. And gets it out to the left there to Gavardio. Lays it off to Akanji. Quickly moves it onto the halfway line here to Diaz. Forward to Bernardo Silva. Got Nunes ahead of him. And John Stones as well. Goes to his right, or attempts to go to his right, heads Kyle Walker. Deflects off McGinn. That's now with Kamara for Aston Villa. Forward in between the lines here to Tielemans in the centre circle. Driving into the Manchester City half. He's got Bailey to his right and he'll play it to Leon Bailey, who's in the box again. 1-on-1 with Gavardio. Onto his right foot. Been forced backwards here. Good defending this time from Gavardio. And he plays it back here into Tielemans. Inside to Luiz. Edge of the box. Doesn't shoot. Goes out to the left to McGinn, who takes on his right foot. Shoots. Comes off the head of Diaz. Drops through towards Bailey. Eventually cleared by Gavardio. It's not convincing though. Straight to Tielemans in the box. Charges past Kovacic. Works a low ball in towards Watkins. Prodded away by Stones. Kept alive by Konsa. Into Kamara. Into the box on the right. Plays it through to Watkins. Left foot. Shot blocked. Loops up. Luiz. It's saved by Edison. No flag up. Corner kick. Aston Villa are well on top in this game. They've been much the better side. Watkins shot blocked by Stones there. It looped up towards Luiz, but Edison got there to close down the shot as it was going in there at the near post. Save that was needed to be made as Scott McTominay's got his brace against Chelsea. Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1. McTominay at the double. Once again at Old Trafford for Manchester United as we've got a stoppage here before the corner. I think it's Leon Bailey down. The match winner at the minute. I think the goal will go down as his. Yeah, even though it took a deflection off Ruben Diaz. It was going on target. The original shot. As Digne to the far side will go and take it. Leon Bailey will have to go onto the touchline as he's received some medical treatment. So it'll be a corner kick here for Aston Villa. It looks like they're going to ready Moussa Diaby to come on for Aston Villa. one of their main signings in the summer, £51.9 million from Leverkusen. But we'll have this corner kick first. Digne crosses it in, headed away by Haaland, and it's a foul on Haaland there as he headed the ball away, pushing the back on the Norwegian. And they play it to right back Walker. 10 minutes to play. And Manchester City need a goal, or they'll go 6 behind Arsenal, 4 behind Liverpool. They'll be 2 behind Aston Villa in 4th place now. Akanji out to the left here to Gvardiol. On halfway line, the Croatian centre half. Now with Diaz. Kovacic on halfway. To his right to Akanji. Lays it back off here to Gvardiol. Left centre half here, Diaz. Back into Gvardiol again. Not much movement for Manchester City. They are lacking depth in that striking area, aren't they? And they're really missing Kevin De Bruyne, a player who usually takes these games by the scruff of the neck to create chances for Manchester City. Still, they haven't had a shot since the 10th minute. Manchester City, 70 minutes of football, they've not had a shot. Ball down the channel to Haaland. He will get there ahead of Diego Carlos. He goes down under the challenge, and that'll be a free kick for City. Well won there from Erling Haaland on that far side. Got his body in front of Diego Carlos. And yeah, just being pulled down. Arms all around Haaland there from Diego Carlos. And in the final third, it's a free kick on the far left-hand side. So only a cross will do here for Manchester City. No angle for a shot. It'll be Nunes to put it in with his right foot. Goes nearly all the way through. And it finds its way into the arms of Emi Martinez. It was a whip one at the near post. Luiz went to head it, and it just went beyond the Brazilian, and thankfully for Aston Villa, it went straight through to Martinez. As they play out from the back here, Villa, with McGinn going back here in the left-back area to Pau Torres. Lifts it, high ball towards Watkins, headed away by Diaz, brought down by Nunes. Now laid off into Kovacic on halfway. It's now John Stones. We lost the one game last season, Ruben Diaz, in the Premier League against Liverpool away from home. He's currently on the ball. Lost a couple now this season when playing, Ruben Diaz, likes of Arsenal and Wolves. Kanji, just a lot of meaningless passes for City in the midfield. They're not actually leading to anything at the minute, and they haven't led to anything all game. Gvardiol on halfway. It's now with Diaz. Just no room for them to get in behind here, Manchester City. Ball lifted out to the left of Nunes. Brings it down beautifully there, but can't take on Konsa. Shows too much of the ball to the English defender. And it's now with Diego Carlos in the 18-yard box. Clears it high for Aston Villa down the right channel, where Watkins will chase it. And will get there ahead of Ruben Diaz. And it'll be Leon Bailey to take over, who then is shoved off the ball there by Ruben Diaz. And that'll be Manchester City in possession as Leon Bailey stay down. Kovacic to the left there to Akanji. Bailey stays down. Akanji through to Nunes. Out to the left to Oscar Bob. Outside the 18-yard area. Back into the box towards Nunes. Can't flick it to Kovacic. Cleared by Konsa. Only as far as John Stones. He chests it down and plays it forward. Can't find Haaland in the box. It'll be Emi Martinez to collect the ball and throw it out of play. As Leon Bailey stayed down after that Diaz challenge, holding the back of his left leg. Let's have a look here. Yeah, just kicked the back of Bailey's leg there, Ruben Diaz. Accidentally, was going for the ball. As I do think Leon Bailey is about to be substituted here for Aston Villa, so it's best if he just gets up and gets off the field here. And he's currently the match winner, as he was sprinting away from Gvardiol. He shot past him, get it onto his right foot, and then his shot towards goal was deflected off Ruben Diaz, beyond Edison, into the back of the net to give Aston Villa a lead. And with 6 minutes to go, they still have a hold of that lead. And Leon Bailey will be replaced by Aston Villa's number 19, Moussa Diaby, formerly of PSG and Bayer Leverkusen. And the other change in that double swap will be Yuri Tielemans off the number 8 for Jacob Ramsey, Aston Villa's number 41. Yet to start this season, Jacob Ramsey, recovering from an injury picked up at the Euros for the under-21s. Not quite been able to get back in the rhythm of things. Picked up a few knockbacks when trying to return earlier on this season. Does have the one goal in their home win against Brighton 6-1 in late September. And he's off the bench tonight for the last 6 minutes plus added on time, as he's dispossessed there by Bernardo Silva, and he goes back to Ederson in the Manchester City 18-yard box. High ball into the Aston Villa half, looking for Oscar Bob. He'll be headed forward by Ezri Konsa into McGinn. Poked away from him by Gavardio, but comes off the foot of Kovacic. There'll be a throw-in on the halfway line for Aston Villa as Pep Guardiola applauds his team, trying to get a tune out of his side. That's struggling tonight, and they've struggled all night. Moussa Diaby on halfway, all the way back into his own half here to keep the ball. Finds Konsa, forward to McGinn, inside to Kamara. It's just fantastic football. Kamara on the edge of the box, plays it through into the box to Moussa Diaby on the right-hand side. He's got McGinn on the overlap. Instead goes back here to Konsa to keep the ball. Away from Bernardo Silva. A little bit unknowing of what to do, Konsa, but he gets it to the edge of the box to Luiz. Shifts it onto Digne on the left-hand side. Forward to Watkins, to his right to Luiz, who wants to shoot. He will shoot off the post! Cleared by Akanji, straight to Diaby in the box. Still alive. Diaby on Bob. Seen out for a goal kick. Good defending from Manchester City's youngster. And they nearly made it too. Douglas Luiz against his former side. On the edge of the box, given the time to shoot it, and he nearly bent it into the top right corner. But was stopped by the post. Manchester City somehow are still in this game with 4 minutes to play. Decent attempt there from Douglas Luiz, who's having quite the season for goals. He got 6 last season. He's already on 5 this season. As it's a yellow card here for Boubacar Kamara for Aston Villa, who's previously played Manchester City in the Champions League when he was at Marseille in the 2020-2021 campaign in the group stages. I think he's given away a foul here on the halfway line, so it'll be a Manchester City free kick which can be launched into the Aston Villa half here. It'll be Kyle Walker to put it over the line of the defence. Headed away though by Ezri Konsa, drops to Oscar Bob, who plays it through to Diaz on the left side of the box. Questions of offside, but he'll put it across, and it's caught very well by Emi Martinez. If there was any kind of spillage there, Haaland was there to try and score the rebound, but he clutched it into his chest. And it still remains Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. In fairness, I know Manchester City have dropped off in form in the Premier League. That can't be hidden. But, the fact they've played, the likes of Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, Tottenham at home, Aston Villa away. That's 4 very tough fixtures. And to go into those 4 and come out without a win is obviously very unlike Manchester City. But that is a difficult 4 fixtures, and they've just not been quite able to live up to the billing in these games. But City never usually have a clean season. They usually have their hiccups, and they usually come more towards the beginning of the seasons, and they usually pick it up late on. So it's usually pretty much City fashion, this, to drop points in the December periods of the seasons. Kovacic, forward to Walker. Has he beat the offside trap? He squares it towards Nunes, well cut out by Ramsey. And then the flag goes up on Walker. Offside in the end. I think that might have been a tight one. But Akil Howson had his flag up. Yeah, well offside there, Kyle Walker. Gone well early. And the cutback wasn't even good enough anyway, as Manchester City have still not had a shot in this game since the 10th minute. It's absolutely incredible how they've not even had an attempt on goal. The most work they've had Martinez doing was that catch for the cross there from Ruben Diaz. As Aston Villa clear up the field, it's a bad giveaway. Gavardio picks it up in the Aston Villa half, lifts it out to the right side here to Kyle Walker. Midway side the Villa half, running at Luca Digne. Drives on the inside. Not got loads of options ahead of him. Just goes back to Diaz. Akanji looking for Walker in behind, cut out by the chest of Jacob Ramsey, who's then dispossessed by Mateus Nunes, who finds Walker in a right wing position for Manchester City. Ball into the left to Stones. Nunes again in that De Bruyne-esque position where he usually puts those crosses in. And as he tries to play it down the line to Walker down the right, it's miscued and it goes out for a throw-in. And we're going to get another double change here for Aston Villa. Be Alex Moreno and John Duran to come on for additional time. Alex Moreno will be replacing Luca Digne at left back, like for like change. Started in every game so far this season, Luca Digne. And John Duran will be coming on, for Ollie Watkins. Didn't get on the score sheet tonight, as he had scored in the last 3 games, Ollie Watkins, 1 in each. And his 8 goals this season did come in his previous 9, but he's gone off tonight without a goal. He's on 48 in the Premier League, Ollie Watkins. 1 more to go third in Aston Villa's all-time leading scorers in the Premier League. But that will have to wait, as we've got 5 minutes of additional time here at Villa Park. Manchester United still lead 2-1 against Chelsea at Old Trafford. Alex Moreno throws it down the Aston Villa left. Headed on by Diaz, goes the wrong way. Picked up by Diaby. He's now out to the left here to Duran. He's got Moussa Diaby making a run ahead of him. He's got Ramsey as well. Turns back instead here, Duran. Then goes forward again to Ramsey. 1-2, back into Duran. Towards the corner flag on this near side. Tries a cross, comes off Walker. Throw-in won by Duran for Aston Villa. And they'll need to try and keep it in this City half for as long as possible during this additional time. It's Manchester City's manager, Pep Guardiola, is in discussion with assistant Juanma Lillo. As Moreno is going to have a long throw in this time. He is going to toss it into the box. Headed away by Kovacic, helped on by Oscar Bob. Haaland will chase it down, but it'll be Diego Carlos to get there first. And he goes all the way back to Emi Martinez, who then fires it out to the right-hand side, looking for McGinn. Nods it down very nicely into Konsa, who keeps himself ahead of Oscar Bob, and eventually dragged down by the young Norwegian. Free kick for Aston Villa, midway side, the City half on the far side. Just getting pulled back there by Oscar Bob. Ezri Konsa, looking for his first victory against Manchester City. Got in the England squad as well for the first time. Ezri Konsa in the last international break in November. Didn't play any minutes. As the ball goes here to McGinn. Keeps it away from Bernardo Silva and Oscar Bob. McGinn loses out to Bernardo Silva this time. It's now Oscar Bob in the 18-yard area. Plays it to Bernardo Silva in a left-back area, who then clears it off McGinn. Throwing for the away side. As Bernardo Silva throws it quickly into Akanji. Across the goal it goes to Walker. Nods it into John Stones, who gets it back into the path of Kyle Walker. Gets there ahead of Alex Moreno, and it's a great challenge from Pau Torres. Only as far as John Stone, who switches it out nicely to the left. It will fall to Oscar Bob. He's got Kovacic in support in the final third. Oscar Bob plays it into Kovacic, just outside the 18-yard area. Kovacic onto his right foot. Back to Gvardiol. Back down the line to Kovacic again. Needs to get it in the box here, Kovacic. Can't find the run of Gvardiol. Tackle by Kamara. Pushed down by Gvardiol. Free kick for Aston Villa. And Manchester City have been absolutely awful tonight. I do not want to take anything away from Aston Villa, because the way they've played is one of the reasons why Manchester City have been so bad. But my word, Manchester City need to get back on track as soon as possible, because this performance has been absolutely diabolical. And without Rodri, Manchester City are just a different team. It's quite scary. They've played 4 games this season without Rodri, and they've lost every single one. 90 seconds left of the game. It's a free kick for Aston Villa in a right-back position, taken by Emi Martinez. It goes long down the channel towards Duran, straight out of play, for a throw-in for Manchester with Gvardiol. Another great kick there from Emi Martinez. Could have at least kept that in play. As the throw-in goes quickly into Bernardo Silva, who's looking out to the Manchester City right. He's got Diaz and Walker there. Opts to go the other way and play it short to Akanji on halfway, who plays a ball out to the right. It's a high one. It's a header won by Jacob Ramsey. Drops to Douglas Luiz. Ramsey takes over. Tackled by Diaz. Ball drops back to Ramsey, who goes forward to Duran. And then back into the left-back area here to Alex Moreno. And Aston Villa have it in their 18-yard box here with Pau Torres. Back into Emi Martinez. 45 seconds to play. Martinez, ball out to the right here to Ezri Konsa, completely unmarked. Dribbles into the Manchester City half. He's now followed by Oscar Bob. Finds John McGinn, who kicks it off. Oscar Bob, throw in, and I think that'll be that at Villa Park. We've got 30 seconds left, but Manchester City haven't had a shot since the 11th minute. So I doubt they'll have one now with 20 seconds to go. Wow, what a bad performance, but it's been so good from Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Completely got it right in every way, tactically, with the substitutes, with the way they've pressed, with the way they've kept the ball, the way they've defended. Everything has just been absolutely perfect from Aston Villa. As Oscar Bob tries to clear, Gvardiol brought down by McGinn. Free kick for the away side in the left-back area. It's just 5 minutes have been played, and City are deep in their own half here. Ellison needs to send this one quickly and far. But I have a feeling the whistle will blow when Edison kicks it. Edison does kick it. Helped on by Haaland. Bernardo Silva will chase it. Cleared away high and into the City half by Pau Torres. And that's when the whistle will be blown. It's taken him 6 attempts, but Unai Emery has finally beaten Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. It's his 50th win as a Premier League manager. And he's signed off his 50th game in charge of Aston Villa with a win against the current treble winners. As I was mentioning before, they could not have got everything more right tonight. Aston Villa. Tactically was superb. And from back to front, they were absolutely unbelievable. They limited Manchester City to 2 shots, which both came in the 10th minute of the game. Manchester City did not have a shot on goal from the 10th minute to the very, very end. What a defensive display from Aston Villa. They were better in midfield. They were clinical up front when they needed to be through Leon Bailey with a deflected strike in the 74th minute. Aston Villa go 3rd in the table in the Premier League, 2 points ahead of Manchester City after playing the same amount of games. City dropped to 4th, 6 behind Arsenal in 1st, 4 behind Liverpool in 2nd, and 2 behind Aston Villa in 3rd. And we know Manchester City have their patches of poor form within a season. Their poor form has very much hit them in the months of November and December. That's now 4 in a row for Manchester City in the Premier League without a win. 3 draws and now a loss away at Aston Villa. As Aston Villa extend their winning streak at home in the Premier League to 14 in a row. They haven't tasted defeat here at Villa Park since Arsenal in February of this year. They're now 8 in a row in all competitions at Villa Park. Their last defeat at this ground was in the League Cup in late September against Everton. They're on fire at the minute. They have a big task at the weekend against top dogs Arsenal at Villa Park before an away trip in the Premier League to Brentford. But the momentum is well on Villa's side, and they're taking advantage of a very poor Manchester City performance to walk away with the 3 points. And at Villa Park, after 90 minutes of football plus with the additional time, it ends Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0, and that was more than deserved for Aston Villa. That was such a good performance. You just don't get better than that all-rounded against Manchester City. Limited them to no attacks. Literally had 1 attack through Haaland, played through by Foden. First shot was saved by Martinez. Second header was saved by Martinez. And from the 10th minute to the 90 plus, City had no attempts on goal. Aston Villa dominated the midfield play. And like I say, they weren't too good in the final third, Aston Villa. 22 shots, 7 on target, and the goal that was scored was a deflected strike. So the likes of Watkins didn't quite have his night, but Bailey, who was causing Gvardiol to have nightmares throughout that game, got beyond him for the goal, shot past him as well on the edge of the box, and then struck beyond Edison with a deflection off Ruben Diaz. But it's not like they didn't deserve to win that, Aston Villa. They were absolutely fantastic. And they are thoroughly deserving of those 3 points. That puts them above Manchester City in the Premier League table after both playing 15 games. Great commentary as always. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. I hope everyone did enjoy. If you have stuck around, make sure you like and subscribe. If you haven't already, commentary coming tomorrow. We're watching Everton against Newcastle at Goodison Park at 7:30 kickoff. And then we're covering Newcastle again on Sunday as they take on Spurs away from home. As we're just going to see out this Chelsea game. They are currently 2-1 down against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Got 4 minutes of additional time. And they've played the 4. But the referee's not blowing the whistle yet, so I presume he might play a little bit extra than the additional time given. Because remember, that's a minimum. 4 minutes of added on time. Can Chelsea get a late equaliser at Old Trafford? Disarcy. Forward and out to the right to Reece James. Tries a 1-2 with Jackson, and the cross from James is deflected off Reguilon. And that'll be a last-minute corner here for Chelsea. This will be that. Could we get some late drama in this game? It'll be a Reece James outswinger on this near side. United lead 2-1 at Old Trafford through a McTominay brace, sandwiched outside of a Cole Palmer equaliser for Chelsea. Ball goes in by James, headed away by Fernandes, and that'll be that. Manchester United win 2-1 against Chelsea on the night that Manchester City fall behind in the Premier League title race to Aston Villa. That win for Manchester United puts them 3 points behind Manchester City after playing the same amount of games. Manchester City have won 9 games this season in the Premier League. Manchester United have won 9 games in the Premier League so far this season. So all this talk about Manchester United having such a bad season, they're currently in 6th spot. They're 3 points at the minute, as it stands, off top 4. They're 3 behind Manchester City. They're, at the minute, 9 points off Arsenal. It's not all doom and gloom as people believe at Manchester United, and they've got a good 3 points there against Chelsea, who still slump in 10th, unfortunately, for Mauricio Pochettino. So, in the 2 later kickoffs on this Wednesday night, we've had Aston Villa win 1-0 against Manchester City, and Manchester United with a home win against Chelsea, 2-1. So we have all enjoyed this live commentary of Manchester City losing away at Aston Villa. It's their first win in 16 against Manchester City. Aston Villa, they'd gone the previous 15 in all competitions without a win. It's their first win against Manchester City since September 2013, which was a 3-2 home win with a winner in the 75th minute from Andreas Weimann, formerly of Aston Villa. And their winner tonight came in the 74th minute, so just 1 minute off that one. And it is only the 5th time in 56 games for Aston Villa that they have beaten the reigning champions. The last time they beat the reigning champions was when it was Liverpool in that 7-2 win in October 2020. But they're now 14 wins in a row at home in the Premier League. Not lost since February. And under Unai Emery, they are a different beast. And they currently sit 3rd in the Premier League. So hope you all enjoyed this live commentary. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you're here at 7:30 for kickoff tomorrow between Everton and Newcastle. But here at Villa Park, we have seen Aston Villa outclass Manchester City in every single department, limited them to 2 shots at goal in the whole game, and they both came in the 10th minute through Erling Haaland. The winner with 15 minutes to go was scored from Leon Bailey. It had a slice of luck from a deflection from Ruben Diaz, but it was everything and more that they deserved. They sit 3rd place, City dropped to 4th, 6 points off the top, and here at Villa Park it ends Manchester City losing at Aston Villa by 1-0.